Good morning and welcome to episode 5 of the Powerpuff Babes podcast, where sugar meets spice and everything nice. We're your hosts, Mo, Kat, and Allie. I'm going to start off the day getting stuff off our chest. We've got a couple of stories we're going to share, and we would like you all to share yours if you don't mind them being read out loud. You can change the names or not, it's your choice. Leave your stories on Curious Cat. There's a link on our Twitter page for your craziest stories to be shared, whether you want them to be anonymous or not. And without further delay, let's get started. Ladies, what are these craziest work stories y'all got?
Well, do I have some stories for you guys? All right.
Tell me.
So, I'm gonna start off with why I shouldn't have had this job in the first place.
Ooh.
So, when I first applied to this job at Unnamed Pet Store, basically there was a different manager at the time that I first applied. So what happened was me and my friend came into the store. We were like, there was a Marco's Pizza like right next door. And yeah, and we were eating there with her friend, with her mom. Sorry, we were eating there with her like mom and her brothers.
Mm-hmm.
And we were like, oh, there's this pet store next door. Like, let's just go. Like, it had like recently opened, and we were like, let's just go see what they have. Like, we were like, Fat Bella's fucking go, right?
Mm-hmm.
So we walk in, and there's like this really cool. I guess he would have been like the assistant manager. His name was CJ. He's bomb as fuck. So we get there, and we're like, you know, like we're holding like the animals. Like they let you like if they can be held, like they let you pick them out. And we were holding like the ferrets, and I absolutely adore ferrets. So we were holding the ferrets, and I was like, bro, I could do this as a job. And he was like, so you looking to apply? And I was like, say fucking less. So he basically like low-key interviewed me on the spot, and then he was like, yeah, so basically just like, he was like, do you have your like ID and shit? And I was like, no, because like I didn't drive, her mom did. And so he was like, well, yeah, like we close in like 2 hours or whatever, so if you just like apply online and then come back and you know whatever. So I was like, say fucking less, I need a job anyway. So I did this shit in like 15 minutes. I went to her house, we both applied online, but unfortunately she wasn't old enough at the time because her birthday's late as fuck. So I like applied online, got my like ID and shit, and then we headed back, and I like signed all the shit and basically applied. And he was like, all right, like I'll give this to my manager, and like, you know, like you'll talk to her about stuff, yada yada. I was like, bet. So I get like a text from her, and she's like, hey, so like when are you starting? And I was like, so basically like I'm gonna be out of town, like I graduate, and I'm gonna be on a cruise until like this date, yada yada. Like I was formal as fuck. I gave her dates when I was leaving, dates when I was coming back, when my graduation was, all this shit. And she was rude as fuck, and she was like, well, we need the position filled now, so basically we can't hold the spot for you. Like not gonna hire you, like basically like she had put me on, there we go, that's why she put me on the schedule. And I was like, oh, like I was telling CJ like I wasn't able to start like right away, like it was gonna be after like I had gotten back. And that's when she was like, oh well, yeah, no, then you're fired. Like I got fired before I got hired.
Okay.
Like she fired me over text. And I told my mom, I was like, the fuck. And my mom like messaged her, she like texted her or whatever, I don't remember what she did, and she was like, is there any way that you can like just hold the position open, like she would really like to work for y'all's store, like she just, you know, she's graduating and she's going out of town like right after that, but she'll be back and she'll be ready when she gets back. And the lady was like, no, sorry, like sorry not sorry. And we were like, wow, fucking bitch. Anyways, and I was like, you know what, fuck this job, I don't want it, whatever, I'll find somewhere else. So I go on my cruise, whatever, I get back, and it's like a week later, and I was like, damn, I still need a job. Like, my mom was like, she was like, basically like, where are you gonna work? And I was like, well, so I go back, because it's literally like, it's a pet store. I love animals, and it's a minute from my house. Doesn't get any better. And like, the pay was like $11 an hour, and I was like, let's fucking go. Like, you know. So I go back and I'm like, hey, like, you know, I tried to apply, you know, like a couple weeks ago. Are you guys still hiring? And it's a new store manager.
Mm-hmm.
And she's like, yeah, like, just go ahead and, you know, put your application in online. And I was like, oh, I already have. Like, and she was like, oh, well, we switched some shit around. Like, well, no, she didn't say shit, but she was like, we switched some stuff around. So, like, could you, you know, like, apply again and, like, blah, blah, blah. And I was like, yeah, sure, like, whatever, it doesn't matter. So I apply again online, and like a couple weeks go by, and I hear nothing back, and I'm like, okay, weird. So I go up to the store and I'm like, hey, like, I sent in my application like you told me to, and like nobody got back to me. And she was like, oh, like, I didn't even see it, like, send in another one. And I'm like, bro, how do you lose an online application?
Yeah, that's not a
that's not a fucking thing. Literally not a fucking thing. And I was like, all right, you know what, fuck it, whatever. Like, it's right here, it's good pay, like, fuck it, whatever. So I apply again.
Mm-hmm.
And I, like, obviously, like, it gets seen this time, whatever, like, you know, I actually get contacted. She's like, come in for an interview. And I was like, bro, I've been interviewed. But anyways, I get there for the interview. It's CJ again. And I'm like, say fucking less. And he's like, he takes me to the back and he's like, I have to do this as a formality. Like, we can either sit here and talk or I can ask you some stupid questions. And I was like, fuck it, stupid questions. And he was like, he asked me, like, what the best shape in the world was and shit like that. And I was like, I don't fucking know, a triangle. And he was like, a circle. Anyways, regardless, slightly irrelevant.
Uh-huh.
So basically, I was like, he was like, so what took you so long? And I was like, bitch, what do you mean? And he was like, you applied like at the beginning of summer. And I was like, the store manager like fired me. And he was like, oh, she got fired. And I was like, what the fuck happened? And he was like, yeah, no, he was like, she was horrible. Like, she, you know, like, wasn't doing good shit, like, good in the store. And she's like the world's like worst fucking store manager. And I was like, I could have told you that. The way she fucking handled my situation. So basically, Ellie's the new store manager now, and like at first she's chill as fuck. Like, I enjoy the job. Some of the employees are people I went to high school with, and a couple are just new people. Like, everybody's chill. It's a great fucking work environment at first. So here's where we get into my actual stories. My problem started the day that a bitch named Liv got hired. So basically, while I was working there, like the entire fucking time, nobody had a problem with it. My best friend would bring her dog, because it's a pet store. She would bring her dog and just like hang out. Like halfway through that, one of the other employees ended up being her boyfriend. So
not a relationship in the office.
Right? So basically, she started showing up for 2 reasons: for me to see the dog, for me to see her. Well, I guess 3 reasons, and for her to see him. So nobody gives a fuck. Like, the dog's chilling. Like, she's a good dog. She's not, you know, dog aggressive. And she was just chilling behind like the little desk and shit. Like, everyone was cool. Like, this is going on for like 2.5 months, right? Liv gets hired as, so Ellie's the store manager, CJ is like the 3rd manager, and then Lindsay is like the 4th manager, right? So Liv applies for like the 2nd highest manager almost. Basically what it would be like, they had like 3 under like the store manager pretty much. So she applies for that job, which regardless of the fact, because of how long he was there, CJ should have been that manager regardless. She should have started at the bottom. But because she was a manager somewhere else, even though it had nothing to do with a fucking pet store, they put her 2nd manager. Blah, blah, blah. So she gets there. She's sitting up front. She's doing her fucking training, which I had to do. Well, I didn't have to do it in the back, but I just did it in the back because it was like easier. Like, there was no reason she was up front. Like, she could have been in the back regardless. So she's up front, she's doing her stuff on the computer, like, you know, just kind of like, I guess, getting a feel for the place, like how shit works. I don't fucking know. Because there was a few times that I did shit up front and then I was in the back. But, so my friend, again, brings her dog and we're just chilling. And none of us, not her boyfriend, not me, not her, and not one of our other employees, and not CJ, like open. There's a bird cage that was like right next to like the cash registers and shit. It's like because we had like birds and then it was like a parrot, and he was like by himself. So we get the bird out. I don't remember who the fuck it was. Gets the bird out, and her dog, being a dog, basically, like the bird gets out, and it not gets out, like it gets let out, and it like flies down to the ground, and her dog is not aggressive in the slightest, like around birds all the time. Like, you know, I know it's like birds dogs are unpredictable, like you never know, but like when I tell you, she's been around birds the entire time, like never did anything. We let her sniff like the one that was in the cage before that. Like she was chill as fuck. And so the bird flies to the ground, and she, not run, walks over to the bird and just kind of like stares at it, right? And we're just like, oh, like go pick up the bird, like put it back in the cage, like, you know, it's on the ground, like whatever. So we put the bird in the cage, and Ellie comes out to the front with Liv. The whole time I'm like, where the fuck, like, where was she at in the first place? Like, where the fuck did Liv go? Ellie comes out and she's like, hey, like, you guys need to, like, not take the bird out, like, the dog, like, you know, like, it's dangerous, whatever. So come to find out, Liv goes back there and complains to Ellie that we're being irresponsible, and she's worried about the bird because the dog ran at the bird. False. Completely false. Her dog didn't run, walked to the bird, and then stared at it. The bird was on the ground for a good 10 seconds. If her dog was going to do something, it would have. So we're like, okay, whatever. Put the bird in the cage. You know, my friend goes, she takes her dog around the store. And whole time, like, my friend is, like, buying shit. Like, every time she comes, she would buy something. It's not like she was just there taking up space. Mm-hmm. She would buy something, you know, like, contributing to the business, yada, yada. And she was just there. So, so the next day, I get to work. And Ellie, like, pulls me aside, and she's like, hey, so, is it cool, like, she's not telling me whatever, she's asking me. She's like, hey, is it cool if, like, your friend, like, maybe doesn't come as much, or, you know, like, when she does come, like, you know, like, her dog is, you know, like, on the leash or whatever. And I was like, yeah, like, that's fine, like, she can just not come as much or whatever. And then that suddenly became that she wasn't really allowed at all, and if she came back, they would call the police, and she, like, wasn't allowed to be in the store unless she was buying something. And we were like, where the fuck did this come from? She's been here for 2.5 months, and you've had no problems with them being here. Come to find out, Liv made a complaint to HR about it, and they were like, yeah, so, and they were like, yeah, like, she's not allowed in the store unless she's buying shit, basically. What? Because okay. Liv's, put out like she contacted them, and she was like, for the endangerment of animals, I don't think this person and their dog should be in the store anymore unless they're buying something and the dog is on a leash. And we were like, wow, you just got here and you're already being like that? All right. So my friend is like, okay, well, you know what, fuck it, like, I'll see him, you know, outside of work, and like we'll hang out, whatever. And I was like, okay, cool. So she like really stopped coming by unless she like needed something, because like I, as an employee, get like free bags of bags of dog food. And so she would like come by the store to like grab the bag that I would get for her, that I would put aside for her. Mm-hmm. And like that was it. So like from then on, like me, Nina and Will and Marquise were like, bro, fuck Liv, and CJ. We were like, fuck Liv, like, what the fuck is her problem? And, you know, like, Liv already wasn't a part of, like, you know how you have, like, a secret group chat with the people that, like, yes. really fuck with each other? Yeah. Liv wasn't in that group chat. Ellie wasn't, because there was some shit we talked about because concerning Liv, so Ellie just wasn't in the group chat. Plus, it was kind of like she wasn't really like that. Like, she was chill and all, but she wasn't like fucking with us like that, even before Liv. So the group chat just didn't have her in it regardless. So basically, it just gets more and more worse. So Liv's there, and all of a sudden, I come to work one day and I sit down on the ground because I'm like, I wasn't doing anything. There was like no one in the store at the time. Everything had been like faced and stuff. You know, like there was really nothing to do. Like shit was cleaned. Like we were just like, it was like slow. I sit on the floor and CJ comes up to the front and he's like, hey, you can't sit on the floor. And I was like, why not? He was like, if you want to sit, you got to go in the back. And I was like, well, why? Like I was sitting on the counter. Mm-hmm. And he was like, why? Or I was like, why? And he was like, you just can't sit like up there. And I was like, okay. So then I sat on the floor, sorry. And he was like, no, like you can't sit up here at all. And I was like, okay. Come to find out even more. So basically, this lady came into the store and she basically complained that Will hadn't helped her and he was vaping in the store, which he was and probably didn't help her. But basically he was sitting on the ground and he was on his phone and she like put an entire like review on like online. So HR caught wind of it and they were like, basically we'll be watching the cameras, yada yada, you're not allowed to sit down.
Right.
And we were like, okay, but how did they catch wind? Liv is how they caught wind. Basically, they don't pay attention. There's like so many stores that they have. And Liv was like, basically was like, I don't like bad publicity. Like, you just got here. Nobody fucking likes you already. And you're making shit worse for yourself. So at this point, we can tell that like maybe a month in, we can tell Liv is gunning for CJ's job. No, I'm sorry.
Oh,
I had it wrong. I had it wrong. CJ was second and Liv was third. My bad. I'm so sorry. Oh. Had it wrong the whole time. So Liv was gunning for CJ's job. He was above her and she was gunning for his job. Like, we could tell. Like, and, you know, like, Ellie and CJ had been working together for months before I was even there. Like I said, like Ellie had come on, and there was like a month where I hadn't heard back, and then I started working. Mm-hmm. Ellie and CJ were working together that entire time, mm-hmm. And Ellie had no problems with CJ. They were cool. They were chopping it up. Everybody, like I said, when I got there, great fucking work environment. I loved it. Always wanted to work. So all of a sudden, Ellie's telling CJ that like he's not doing his job correctly, he's not handling the animals correctly, he was taught how to do the job wrong, this, that, and the third. And like CJ's telling all of us like this, and we were like, how the fuck is she just now telling you? Like, if you've been doing your job wrong this whole time, she should have told you when she first got here. Because she was the store manager with her husband at the Austin location. And so basically they brought her in as the store manager because like obviously she knew the job. Mm-hmm. And so we were like, okay, if she knew that much about it, she should have told you that like you were doing it wrong the whole time. And basically it was like, yeah, the first store manager didn't teach him correctly. And it's like, okay, if they knew that, they should have told him and retaught him. They didn't. They were being really fucking shady about it, talking shit behind his back, and just like basically tallying up where he did shit wrong according to them. And so basically we're like watching in the background, me and like my coworkers, and we're like, Liv's a fucking snake. Like, straight up a snake. She's fighting for CJ's job. My friend is now basically banned from the store. The work environment has been drained of the fun. Like, the customers don't want to talk to her. There's like so many customers stopped coming into the store because of her and her attitude. Like, she didn't even have an attitude just towards us. She had an attitude towards the customers as well.
Customers? What the fuck did they do?
Towards the customers as a store manager, or well, as like a manager, assistant manager, she had an attitude. And getting to that, basically, there was one day I found about, because I was part-time, so I found out about some of the shit like later on.
Mm-hmm.
So basically, there was a snake that came in, and Liv was a reptile person, and so was Anna. Anna is the new girl, and Ellie, Liv, and Anna were like, I called them the Twisted Trio
The Twisted
because
Trio. I love that.
they were they were
Twisted
always
Trio.
together, always doing shit, and it was like, bro, what the fuck? Like, there was reptile convention and shit, they would go together. Like, they were real buddy. Like, as soon as Anna got there, like, I was almost so certain that like Liv knew Anna like prior. She didn't, but somehow they just bonded like
Like
over
immediately.
reptiles. Yeah, and it was just like, I mean, fair enough. Like, some people you meet and it's like instant, cool. But it was just like, you could tell that she was the favorite. And it was confirmed later on when Lindsay had gotten fired for some bullshit. Lindsay basically, she was closing the store one day with someone else, and she gets a message the next morning that like the baths weren't cleaned, and because we had like people could wash their dogs themselves there. And so Lindsay gets a message that like the store wasn't cleaned, it wasn't faced, the bath, like she closed the store all wrong, the baths weren't clean, yada yada.
Mm-hmm.
Another one of my coworkers was like, false, because I cleaned the bathtub. They were blaming Lindsay as if she had done it, and it was like, no. He was like, no, I did it, and I know I did it, and you can't tell me that like I didn't clean it.
Right.
So first of all, we were like, ooh, interesting. Basically, anyways, so much shit had happened. Like, they were fucking with Lindsay so fucking much. That day, she fucking quit. She brought her keys in and she walked the fuck out.
She
was like, I fucking quit. Like, straight up, she walked in, was like, I fucking quit, and slammed her keys on the thing and left. I was like, yes, fucking ma'am. So basically, so after Lindsay got fired, Anna suddenly, even though she's supposed to have a license to be a manager, she didn't. She's suddenly fourth key. She's a manager now. Even though she was there after all of us and legally wasn't allowed to be a manager, somehow she was a manager.
What?
And
Okay.
guess whose recommendation it was for her to become a manager?
Oh, that's
Liv!
fucking...
Yeah,
Mm-mm.
favoritism. Straight up favoritism. She didn't even try to hide it. It wasn't like, hey, so we had a talk about who, yada, 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 and we chose Anna. Nope. It was straight up just like, Lindsay got fired. Within that day, they were already like, they had Anna come in to like fill out paperwork to be a manager. Like, that fucking day. Like, they had planned to fire Lindsay, and she had just happened to quit. So it was just like, interesting. So basically, Twisted Trio, there was, so basically you're not allowed to do that. They were putting reptiles all borderline on hold for themselves. Like, there was a snake that came in and Liv was like, I hope nobody like buys it. And so I caught her one day. I didn't say anything, but I was like, a customer came in and was like talking to her about the snake, and she was like, yeah, no, sorry, it's on hold, which we can't do for another customer. She was like, yeah, they're coming in later, they're gonna buy the snake, yada yada yada. And we can't put animals on hold. It's first come, first serve. If you have the money, if you have the shit, you buy it then and there. Like, we can't put it on hold. We literally can't, legally can't. Because I wanted one of the ferrets that had been there for a really long time, and ooh, bitch, I almost forgot about that one. Anyways, so I wanted one of the ferrets that had been there for a while, and I was like, is it possible to like put this on hold? And she was like, no, for like employees and customers. Like, Ellie was like, we can't put it on hold, like animals and shit. Like, if you want to buy it, you got to buy it. So basically, I was like, I need a couple more paychecks before I can get this, because I wanted like the big enclosure for him, and it was him and another one. And the enclosure itself was like a little bit more than my paycheck had been, and both of them were going to be like one paycheck. And I was like, I need a couple more paychecks to put this together. Like, can you just like, and they were like, he's been here a while, so you might get lucky, but like if someone comes in and wants him, like, we can't, you know? So I was kind of doing something I shouldn't have done, and I was like, anytime somebody would come in, I would point them to the other ones, and I was like, yeah, no, this one's really sweet, he likes to cuddle, yeah, whatever. But nobody ended up like really getting the ferrets like that anyway, so it really didn't matter. But basically, there was a snake that had come in, and Liv was like, I fucking want this snake. So customer comes in, she's like, no, it's on hold. The customer leaves. She comes up to the store, writes up a fake like receipt shit, and like she comes up to the front, she like writes a little like thingy that like we have to write, like a fucking kind of warranty kind of thing almost,
Right.
for herself, even though she hadn't bought the snake yet. And I was like, okay. The next day the snake was gone because Liv had bought it. She lied to a customer that someone else was going to get it, and she bought it. And we were like, okay. So another snake comes in, and Anna has her eye on the snake. She's like trying to convince her mom. So of course she tells Liv, like, I'm trying to get my mom to like let me get the snake. Like she's already saying I have too many reptiles, yada yada yada. So it's not set in stone that she's like gonna be able to get the snake.
Right.
She's not like, I'm getting the snake this day, this time, whatever. So Liv again tries to like tell customers that it's on hold, like can't get it, yada yada yada. So one day Liv's not working, and another one of my coworkers, Paul, is working. Paul is snake extraordinaire. He has his own, knows what the fuck he's talking about, all of this. So this lady comes in and she's like, hey, like, she bought an enclosure that like isn't good for the type of snake she was trying to get, but she just wanted the tank. Like she knew her shit as well. She just wanted the like big old gallon tank for the snake, and she was going to put her own shit in it. So Liv caught wind that the lady was trying to buy the kit with the container, and basically she found out too late. She found out when Paul had already sold the lady the snake.
That's
and
insane.
She flips the fuck out on Paul, and she's like, you like shouldn't have sold it to her, like she's gonna put the snake in a bad enclosure. And Paul was like, no, she just wanted the gallon tank, but we don't sell those that big, and she didn't know where else to get one, but she wanted this snake and she had the money, so we sold it to her. Like she came in that day, she had her mindset, she bought the kit and the snake, boom, gone. Liv lost her fucking mind, and like she went off on Paul, and she was like, how could you sell this, like she's not going to take care of it, and yada yada. Which, first of all, how do you fucking know that? Like,
yeah,
you weren't there for the sale, you didn't meet the lady, but you're just going to assume because your little bestie over there wanted the snake that this lady doesn't know what the fuck she's doing? Rude, first of all. But so basically she's like losing her mind. Anna's a little bit upset, which, you know, whatever, fine, like fair enough. Like you wanted the snake, someone else got it, cool. Like I would have been upset if the ferret, you know, had been bought. But regardless of the fact, you know, the snake sold, whatever, we get over it, everybody gets over it. So let's talk about the ferrets, right? So there was a ferret. He was there the longest. His name was Douglas. I loved him. He was my fucking baby, bro. Like, I wanted him. I was begging my mom. I was like, because she was like, no, like, no pets, yada, yada. But I had a guinea pig, like, prior to that. And he had passed away because he got really sick. He was store-bought, and they didn't take care of him, and I didn't know that. So when I got him, he was already, like, sick. And he just like casually started to like lose weight very slowly until like you could tell, and then by then it was too late. Broke my fucking heart. But basically Douglas, I wanted him. I was like, this is my baby. Yes. Like whole store favorite, but like I loved this little dude. And I told Ellie, I was like, I know we can't put them on hold, but like, can we like try to, you know, persuade the customers to get a different ferret or some other animal that we sell? And she was like, I mean, yeah, like we can try, like, you know, whatever. Like Ellie by herself fucking loved her. Ellie as the Twisted Trio, bro. So basically, literally, I came into the store one of my days that I was working, and I was talking to Ellie, and I was like, it's set in stone. Like next week, I'm gonna buy Douglas. I had the money saved up. I was ready. I was gonna buy Douglas and like the enclosure at the same time. And because they're social animals, like the next paycheck I was gonna get, you know, the other one, because they were pretty much like brothers at that point. Like they had both been there like pretty long. So Nina texts me like it had been a week. It was Wednesday. I worked Thursdays, Fridays, Saturdays, and Sundays. So on Wednesday, Nina texts me and she goes, Douglas is sick. And I was like, what do you mean? Like, I told Ellie, like, when I come in, like, that night of, like, Thursday, I was gonna buy him. I was like, what do you mean he's sick? And she was like, I don't know. Like, when I got here, they told me that he was in the back and, like, we were, like, supposed to check up on him, make sure he had, like, all of his stuff. And I was like, okay. So basically, I get there and I go see him. He's in the back and he's just, like, laying down and he's sleeping and, you know, whatever. Like, he's doing okay. Like, not great, but he's okay. Like, he's just a little bit constipated. And I asked CJ, I was like, what the fuck happened? And he was like, Ellie fed him cat food. Which ferrets can have cat food, but there was absolutely no reason for her to give him cat food, and she only fed him the cat food. So I was like, she fed him cat food? And he was like, yeah, and now he's constipated. And I was like, what the fuck? So I'm like watching him on and off while I'm there, like the next few days. Mm-hmm. And like he poops, it's great. Woo! He's perfectly fine. Mm-hmm. We put him back out front. And like the next week I get back, he's back in the back. And I'm like, what the fuck happened? Because like they were telling me that because he was sick, like I couldn't buy him. I was like, he was back in the back and I was like, what the fuck happened? He was fine when I left Sunday. And they were like, yeah, like he got worse, like had to take him, like CJ texted me and he was like he had texted me like the day before that. He was like, they had to take him to the vet. And I was like, what do you mean they had to take him to the vet? And they were like, he was like, yeah, like he got worse. And basically the night before, when like you're supposed to fill up like the water bottles and shit, like Thursday, I filled up all the water bottles and I had the night shift like that next day. And basically when I got there, Liv tried to blame it on me that I didn't refill the bottles for like all of the animals. So basically, the entire night he was dehydrated, and it made him worse. Lindsay opened, and she didn't refill the water bottles. So he had gone the entire day without water. Like, all of them did. And I was like, how the fuck do you do that? Like, how the fuck do you forget to refill the water bottles? Like, it's so fucking easy. The water fountain's right fucking there. Basically, he's in the back, like he has to be like special care taken care of because he's feeling like shit. Right. He starts to, so because of that, Liv decides to open her big fucking mouth and she goes, because certain people are handling him too much, that's why he got sick. She tried to blame it on me that he got sick because I would hold him. No. Basically, so this, that, and the third, he's like starts feeling better. They put him out front again. And like when they put him out front, Liv literally calls me from the other side of the store. She's like, hey, Allie, like, look. And I was like, what? What's up? I came over to like where they were standing and they had Douglas and they were putting him back. And she was like, you want to hold him? And I was like, bro, fucking yes. Like, give me my child. I was like entire time I'm just fucking waiting for him to get better so I can take it, like I can buy him. And like she lets me hold him and I'm like loving on him and yada yada, but like I don't want to like exhaust him, whatever. So I put him back like after a couple minutes. I put him like in the enclosure and like now he's in there like with his brother, basically. Like bonded brother. And whatever, so like a week passes and I don't go to work that Thursday, but I was supposed to work that Friday. I get a text on Thursday from CJ that Douglas died. He like dipped overnight and when they like came into the store, he like was dead. And I was like busted out in fucking tears. Like I cried so fucking hard when I read that. Mm-hmm. Basically like we thought he was getting better, like we were giving medicine, like him medicine and stuff. But he wasn't, and the vet like wouldn't prescribe more of like I guess what he needed, and they didn't tell anybody, like only the managers knew. And so we were only giving him like one of the supplements and other stuff. And oh, also the managers were supposed to be the only ones giving like him medicine and shit. Guess who was granted special permission to give him medicine?
Leave.
No, she was a manager. No.
Oh.
She was allowed. But Anna was given special privileges to give him medicine.
Oh my god.
By whom? Liv. Liv allowed Anna to give medicine. Anyways, regardless of the fact, just more favoritism.
Mm-hmm.
But like, I'm heartbroken. Like, I come to work the next day and I'm just like sick of it. But whole day I'm just like, whatever. I, go, play with the other one, and I'm just like crying my eyes out in the back every chance I get. Like, I went to the back because like there was like cleaning supplies where he was, and I went to the back to go get some stuff, and I saw the cage that he was in, and I lost it. I just bust out. I was like back there for like 5 minutes just crying, and one of them like came into the back, but not like the back, and they were like, "Hey, you good?" And I was like, "Yeah, I'm fine, like I'll be out in a sec." Ugh, worst fucking day of my life. Like, trying to like not cry in front of people, hardest shit ever. But it was just like finding out that Liv had blamed me for him getting sick, and like Anna getting special privileges and all this shit, and finding out that Ellie was the main reason he got sick in the first place. It was just oof. And like, I don't want to call her out, but I think she got him sick on purpose, because there was absolutely no reason for her to give him cat food. We weren't out of food, and she only gave it to him. So it was just, anyways, shitty as fuck. But basically, we realized, like I said, that she was gunning for CJ's job. So they get CJ fired. Like I said, they were keeping tallies of like all the shit that he was doing, in quotations, wrong. And basically they called HR. HR shows up. She's like talking to him, yada yada. He was supposed to work with us that next Tuesday when all of us were going to walk out. We were going to walk out. We were going to leave the store in fucking shambles. And we were just going to leave. Like, you're supposed to clean up, yada, yada, yada. He was going to be the closing manager, and it was going to be like me, Nina, Will, I believe, or Marquise. And we were like, we'll do the whole day, we'll work, whatever. Mm-hmm. And then we're just not going to clean the store. We'll leave it to them. Fuck them. Because we were all about to quit. Like, all of us. I think Will had quit already, or he was fired. We were all about to quit, though. They were about to lose literally 80% of their staff that night. But we find out like the day before, CJ texts us, like he was like, the HR's coming, like I'll let y'all know, yada yada, I'll keep you updated. He texts us like 30 minutes later and he's like, I got fired. And we were like, excuse me? And he was like, yeah, they just fired me. We were like, wow, that's fucking crazy. So Liv gets obviously promoted to his position. Anna she got fourth key. Like, she wasn't allowed to get third key, but she got fourth key. I'm sure by now, if she's still there, she's third key. If they're all still there, I don't fucking know. Every time I drove by for like a couple months, I would still see their cars, but like as of lately-ish, because I'm obviously like over here, the last few times that I would drive by, I didn't see any of their cars like ever. So I don't know if they're still there or not. But basically, we like tried to tell Ellie the whole time. We were like, dude, she's after CJ's job and she's gonna come after yours next. Like, I don't know why you're buddy with this bitch, because she doesn't give a fuck about you. Like, she's a snake. She's a hardcore snake. Like, Paul quit because of her. CJ got fired. Will got fired because of her, and we were all about to quit. No, I'm sorry. That was Paul quit because of her. He put in his 2 weeks, but like didn't come back. it was funny as fuck because Paul was this like older dude, like older than everybody. So it was funny as fuck that he was like, it was like an extra job for him, so he really didn't need it.
Mhm.
So he put in his 2 weeks and never fucking came back. It was the funniest shit. I was like, yes, sir. But basically, just whole time, like from the moment she got fired to the moment I quit, she like drained the store, and I was over it. Like the day I quit, I walked out. I didn't help close the store. Like she said something sideways to me, I grabbed my shit and I left. I was like, fuck you, and I left. I did what Lindsay did and I left, except I didn't have keys. But I was like, you're not gonna say this bullshit to me and then like talk behind my back and shit. And then like try to be friends to my face. That's another thing. She was two-faced as fuck. She was nice to me, and then I heard that she was like saying shit about me behind my back, like how I wasn't a good employee and how I did this wrong and that wrong and yada yada. And then I get there and she's like, oh, you're so good at this, can you do this? And you're so good at that, can you do that? And like blah 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 blah. And I was like, okay, whatever. So I was like, you're not gonna talk shit about me and think I'm gonna put up with it. I was like, fuck you, I quit. I walked out. Grabbed my shit, I left. I clocked out, bye.
Damn.
I was supposed to work a couple more days. But I was like, because I was like, hey, since like I had put in my 2 weeks, and I like messaged Ellie and I was like, hey, since I'm like leaving, is it cool if I work more? And she was like, yeah. I was supposed to come in like another day, like day or two after that, and I just like didn't come back. I was like, fuck this. I walked out. I was like, I'm not coming back. And I had called off for Valentine's Day because I was supposed to work like past Valentine's Day, like the day after Valentine's Day. But I left before that, and CJ messaged me and he was like, they weren't going to give you Valentine's Day off. And I was like, oh no, I know they were. I wasn't going to come anyways because it was going to be like my last day was Valentine's Day, or like the day after that. And I was like, I wasn't going to come anyways.
Bruh.
But it was just like so fucking shady, and like I hated it the whole fucking time. Like like I said, I have so many more stories from that job because it's just like Liv literally made the store a living fucking hell for us and the customers. It was just, she was fucking horrible. And I'm like, I feel bad for like anybody associated with her because she is something else, to say it politely. Whew. Oh my goodness. I thought up a lot of time, so I was going to talk about a different job, but it's okay. It's okay. I'll let you guys go.
Go
We're
ahead,
going to be.
Mo. I'm gonna let you go
stories.
Mine isn't as long, but I remember I worked for this job. I'm not gonna say their name. I don't even really remember their name that well. But I don't,
Convenient.
by the way, remember anybody's names.
Did you say
like
convenient?
So what I did was that every day they would give us a list of phone numbers
The
from
hell was
each
that?
like
Sorry, hold on.
state.
Go ahead, keep
Oh,
going. I'm
okay.
sorry.
No, you said hold on. I was like, okay. No, yeah, so we would get a list of phone numbers from each state, and some of us were assigned to like certain states, right? And we would have to call, and what those phone numbers were is that they, I guess, registered for like a job interview. So all I had to do was just hook up people to a job interview. But thing is, I had no idea what job they were interviewing for, or what the. It's like it was a Zoom. Everything was on Zoom. It was like COVID, like first start of COVID, and so I would have to sign them up. They would go click the link in the email they would get, and then they would watch a group Zoom about the job they're looking at. But they wouldn't know prior. They would just be like, okay, I have to click this link. And at this day and age, clicking a link could give you like a virus or whatever. So I would get cussed out like every morning, especially if I called New York. The one state I hated calling in the morning is that they would cuss me out all the time, and I'd just be like, good morning, and they'd be like, fuck you, and then hang up. And I was like, damn, all right. So this one lady, I don't remember her name, so I'm gonna call her Tina. She was really nice at first. She was really nice, and I was trying to give her information. She seemed very interested or whatever. But sometimes when you sign them up, their email doesn't exactly get their link and stuff right away. So, for like several days, I was trying to help her out and my manager too. And I remember one day she was like, "You know what? I feel like y'all are very sketchy and I feel like this is a scam." So I was like, "You know what? All right. If you think it's a scam, I'll just go ahead and I'll hang up and we won't ever have a problem again. Like, if you don't want to, do the job, because I had no idea what she was interviewing for. Nobody there except our bosses knew what everybody was signing up for. It turned out to be like health insurance to these companies that like were nobody wanted to work with. So I remember I was like, you know what? I'll just hang up. We'll call it a day, and she was like, "But I want the job." I was like, "But ma'am, you think we're a scam?" She's like, "Yeah, but I want the job." And I was like, "Okay, well then give me your email and whatnot." She goes, "But I feel like you're scamming me." And I was like,
Okay.
we were just going back and forth for a while, and it was getting heated, and I was like so annoyed. Like, I was working at home and I was in the bedroom and I was like so frustrated. JP woke up and he was like, "Are you good?" And I was like, "I'm fine, I'm fine, I'm fine." And then we hang up, me and her hang up the phone. And then turns out she calls or she gets in touch with my manager talking about how I'm very rude and that I was saying all this crap. So my manager gets a hold of me. She's like, "Hey, like, customer was having a problem. They said they're having a problem. I'd like, whenever you're doing other phone calls, I'd like to be in a Zoom call so I could see how you're talking to people." And I was like, "Are you serious?" Like,
Wow.
so I'm talking with her on Zoom. She's like, after a while, after a few phone calls, she's like, "It sounds like you're doing good, but if you need any help or whatever, just, let me know. We'll be back on the Zoom call." I was like, "All right." And then turns out later that my boss gave this lady a job with us, but she's like, I guess works out of state because she's not from my state, and I guess everybody had to be here in Texas. But I don't know. My job kept bending the rules so much. Like when COVID ended, not COVID ended, but when what was it? When quarantine ended and everybody was able to go back to work. As soon as they announced that, they were like, "All right, we need y'all at the office." But the thing was that we went in, but the family was like, "Yeah, no, our family's not going to come in, but you guys come in." And I was like, because it was kind of like a family-ish business. Like their mom was working, their cousins and whatnot, but everybody that was family related stayed home, and we were the ones that were supposed to come in. And I thought that was so unfair because, like, how come
That's
your
very
family
unfair.
gets to
What the heck?
stay?
Yeah.
And then, oh yeah, and then like the very beginning, like they never told me I had to bring a laptop to the office.
Mm-hmm.
Like, um, they asked me in the interview, they were like, "Do you have a laptop?" I was like, "No, but I have a desktop. Does that work? Is that fine?" They were like, "Yeah, that's fine." And when I walked into the office, I was greeted, and then they were like, "Oh, do you keep your laptop in there?" And they were talking about my purse, and I was like, "No." And my boss looked very upset, and I was like, "Nobody told me I was gonna have to bring a laptop." So he had to go to Walmart and buy this little bitty cheap laptop that lagged out on me so much. And it slowed me down and it made me so upset. Oh my god. Like, this laptop for some reason needed like 7 updates that took like a whole hour. So
Mm-mm.
that took me back. And then my on top of that, my bosses, if they weren't going to parties all the time, they would be at the office watching TV shows really loud to where we could
Mm-hmm.
hear them in the other rooms. And I was like, Jesus Christ, dude. Like, I was already getting bitched out by like several clients because they were like, I need these questions answered. and I need so that because they really wanted a job, like they were desperate, and I was
Mhm.
like, okay, so if they had questions, I had to send them either to my manager, and she would send them to my bosses, or I would send them to my bosses. But I would always go through my manager first, see if she had the answers.
Mhm.
And for days and days, they would never get back to them because I would always get texts saying, "Hey, like, um, did you talk to your bosses yet?" And I was like, "Yes." They haven't gotten in contact with you yet? No. It's because they spent like the entire birthday month or whatever just going out partying during the day. And they would come in the office for like 5, 10 minutes and then leave. So the day I left, I called this number. It was a California number. I really don't remember. And they were like, "Yeah, I used to work for this company." And it was, I forgot what it was called, but they were like, "Yeah," or I'm not going to say what they were called. They're like, "Yeah, I quit because they're going under a lawsuit." And I was like, "All right, that's it. I'm about to
Mm-mm-mm.
get cussed out. I'm working for these companies I don't know about." And I already thought that was sketchy enough. But for some
Mhm.
reason, my managers were like backing that part up, saying like, "Yeah, I liked working, doing interviews for jobs I didn't really know I was like being interviewed for." And I was like, how does that how does that make anything better? Why would you like not knowing the job you're going in for? So I was tired of being cussed out every morning. I was tired of like crappy business that my bosses were like doing, and I found out through my coworker, the only coworker I would actually talk to. She was really cool. She said that you if how did they put it? If they think you're having any issues with their family, they'll fire you and they won't give you like your last day pay or something like that. So I was like, yikes. All right. And I was already having problems with their family. Like the first day I got interviewed, I was interviewed by one of the cousins. And then I did training on Zoom with them. And I didn't know that like she was only home because she had surgery on her leg or something. And she fell asleep mid training Zoom call. And I was like, all right, like I'm just done. So I quit.
I would have
And
been
I
done
told
too.
my mom told me, she was like, just tell them that I don't know that I'm sick and that you got to take care of me. I was like, okay. So I left them with
Alright.
like heart, with like their hearts being like, oh no, this girl, she's gonna leave because her family's sick. And I was like, fuck yeah, I'm out. Like I just wanted them to be, I wanted them to feel very sorry.
Mm,
But yeah, that one's mine.
That's fucking crazy.
Just tell them I'm
Yeah.
sick. It's fine.
Yeah, my
No,
mom
when
was
I'm
so
on
on
my
board
deathbed.
because every morning I was like, man, I'm so not looking forward to going in and get cussed out. Oh, and I left the laptop because that laptop was so slow.
Good.
It bugged out on me so
It's
much.
shitty anyway.
I was like,
Fuck
can I
that
just leave
laptop.
the laptop here? And like y'all use it, and I like factory resetted it before I left and everything. So I was
Oh,
like
nice.
ready on the dot.
Oh, yeah.
And she was like,
You're
"Yeah,
just like,
sure, you can leave it here." And I was like, "Cool, all right." Because what my boss wanted me to do, because it was like what, a $200 laptop,
Mhm.
Hmm.
and what he wanted me to do was to pay for it through my
No.
paychecks.
Oh hell no.
Yeah.
Hell
So
no.
and plus, it wasn't a salary based job; it was commission. So,
Oh,
um,
hell
No.
no.
every number I would call would be the amount of how much I would make, and then if they actually did show up on the Zoom call, I would get a little bit more. And if they
That,
got the job, I'd get a little bit more.
Wait a
that's
I think it
minute.
ridiculous.
Is
was
this you said that this was an insurance type job?
well, it was a job interview type thing where you just like connect like people with, I guess, their whatever interview they're gonna go for, whatever job they're trying to do or quote unquote do.
Oh, okay. I think of
Yeah.
I think they were trying to recruit me. Well, there was a company that was trying to do that for me too, and I was like,
Just
I don't want to do that.
I don't think their only location was where I'm at, so
Yeah, I'm
you
pretty
might have.
sure. Yeah, I'm pretty sure because they recently like tried to recruit me, and I was like, no, thank you.
Yeah, like who applies to a job and they have no fucking idea where they're applying? Like that's fucking crazy. That's wild.
That's
Yeah,
weird to
it's the
me.
That's a
weirdest
wild
thing,
concept.
dude. It
And
really
then
is.
like I would have to call like Canada too. Like it would not just be the US, it would be Canada. So I would call Canada and there's this one crazy lady. She like she was weird. She gave me her email, and then she would like constantly spam me, being like, where's my email? Where's my email? Where's my email?" To the
Dude.
point where I had to block her. And I was like, damn.
Damn.
Oh, we had to use our actual phone. So like, if somebody reported us as like scam, like
Mhm.
I could have gotten like my number like, how is it, like blocked or whatever. And then
That
I'd probably have to go to like the store and like get it all like fixed up. Like, oh, I'm not
that's
scam.
really like dangerous.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like this job almost borderline sounds like it shouldn't be a job. Like
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, it is.
it's just a
It was.
little
It
bit
is.
kind of like
Yeah,
I
no,
don't know
dude,
about
that
that.
I got the same like vibes when said company like two people actually recommended the job to me, and I was like, um no thanks. And then one of them ended up like leaving the job anyway. I guess he
Mhm.
like finally figured out that it wasn't really worth it.
Yeah.
But then the other one was hardcore trying to like get me to to
No.
join, and I had to come up with like some bullshit story to be like, yeah, I can't, like oh, like I'm sorry, I had to travel to some state.
Broadway.
Like I got to go take care
No.
of my grandma. And then they were like, "Oh, we've got an office there too." Like, "Oh, yeah, no
Bruh.
thank you."
Oh no,
No, I'm
no.
gonna be spending the whole time with my grandma. Like I
Yeah.
can't. It's fine. Thanks though.
That's what they were trying to do with me, and I was like, no, like my mom's gonna need all around care.
Yeah,
She was
dude,
like,
I
just tell them I
literally
have
had to say this.
Alzheimer's.
That was the only way for them to, like, for me to get them off my back, right? And like as soon as I said, "Oh yeah, no, she needs all around care, so I'm not gonna be able to do it," they were like, "Okay, like we'll message you in like a few months or whatever." Not even like,
Yes.
not even 1 month had passed. I want to say like maybe like 2 weeks later, um, the 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 person's boss was like, "Hey, like I remember you were trying to join our thing or whatever, like you interviewed with us, and like I wanted to see if you still wanted to join and we could put you down in the Houston office." And I was like, "Dang, you're not even going to ask how my grandma
Oh,
is?"
you said Houston office, and now I'm
Waiting
very
on your
scared that it could have been the exact same company. Like, type it in like the Discord. Tell me if
Oh,
it's
okay.
them.
Hold on.
Waiting on your grandma's downfall. What
You
the hell?
reminded me as well as that
Like she dead yet?
one. No, one of the first few people I called, like I already have like anxiety enough, but I was trying to go through the script. Like they had an entire script on what to say, and I had to
Yeah.
read off of it and be like,
Yes.
oh,
Oh
like,
my god, no. Let me see if I can. Hold on. I got you.
and then this
On
guy I
the
called, he was
Okay.
like, is it like, are you doing this sort of thing? I forgot exactly what he said, but I was like, am I, this was, my trainer was listening the entire time. This was like one of the first few calls I was doing. And then he was like, yeah, those types of jobs aren't worth it.
Oops, I spelled that wrong.
No, okay, that's not, I don't think that's the one.
No? That's the one that I know they were trying to like. Oh, no. Yeah.
Unless they changed their name, I
They
don't
might
think
have, but
so.
I don't think so.
It could be a
I,
possibility. Yeah.
I deleted like a bunch of like
They were
stuff
getting found
related
out for
from
their
that job.
scams, so they changed their
Like,
name.
the only reason, oh yeah. That I have cuz obviously I would be using my phone, and then I'd have to send text messages for like reminders, and it was so like exhausting, but for some reason everybody else was having like less troubles than I was. They
Hmm.
were like, "Yeah, you should be spending like no more than like 3 minutes on the phone max, and then that's it. And then you get call the next person."
Yeah, and see,
Hmm.
And I was like, "Jeez."
like with the one that they were trying to recruit me at, it was more of like an insurance type company, like life insurance, right? And they wanted to recruit me to basically recruit others, right? So it was
Uh-huh.
more of like the way I saw it, it was like a pyramid scheme. Like
Oh,
they
yeah, for
hired
sure.
me they hired me. They want me to bring in 2 people. So then from those 2 people, they want each of them to bring 2 more people. So,
Yeah,
it's
that's
like
cool.
how if they worked enough, like I'd get paid more. And then the
No,
two
yeah,
people,
that's a whole pyramid.
it's a whole thing. And I was like, no, thank you. Like, I want to, they wanted me to do like door to door stuff. And I was like, no,
And
I
nah,
don't
I'm
do
good.
that.
Wait,
Anxiety.
if you didn't make like at least like a certain number of money a week because you would be get paid weekly, uh they would fire you or they would think about firing you. So I was barely
Yeah.
reaching like the minimum. And then before I left, I saw they were doing an interview in the office with some
Uh-huh.
girl because a lot of it's because people kept like coming and going, right? And I could
Yeah.
see why, but or they just try to get more people. And I was in my head, I was like, you know what? She could take my spot.
Oh my God.
It's fine.
I honestly, as like the last thing to do before I dip out completely from a job, I would have, if I saw that, like they were interviewing or whatever, I would have been like, um, girl, run. You have the time. Run.
Oh my
Like,
god,
don't do this.
if we
It's
had each
not worth
other's
it.
numbers or whatever, yeah, I totally would have done that. Oh my god.
Yeah, no, it was a whole thing with that one. I was like, no thanks. No, thank you.
They're persistent, man.
Oh, yeah,
They really
very.
are.
I ended up just blocking their numbers because they wouldn't stop texting me, and I was like, you know what? Fuck this.
As soon as I quit, I blocked everybody's number there. Except the one girl, I didn't have her number. I really wish I did because she was really cool. But she
Mm-hmm.
was the only coworker I liked. Because when we first went in, nobody wore masks except me and that other coworker. If anything, she also wore gloves and she brought her own can of Lysol. I was like, I hung out in the office with her. Like there were several rooms, but I chose the office that was with her because like we were the only ones that actually were trying to keep distance. And then obviously the other people were like extremely white. Like I can see why they didn't really care because they would like party all the time. They would talk about going and like drinking all the time. And this was like as soon as quarantine lifted, and everybody was supposed to be like, okay, yeah, we've got to like spread out. And as soon as I guess somebody complained or something, because at one point they were like, yeah, you kind of have to like scoot to your own edge of the room and like try to like stay distance from each other. But they never watched over us. They didn't give a shit.
Mm-mm-mm. Well, sorry.
No,
I
you're
was
good.
like,
You're good.
I'm still trying to think of like out of the many stories that I have, which one to talk about. And actually, I'm gonna go ahead and talk about this one that really stuck with me, and I thought it was so hilarious at the time. I was just like crying laughing. Um, I used to work at this pizza joint. Um, and I remember at the time I was being trained to become a general manager for like a new store that they were trying to open. So I had to work in a different area that was like 30 minutes away from my house. Um so it was I remember that it was 4 of us closing that day. Well, I mean 3 of us closing, one was leaving. Yeah. So it was 3 of us closing, one was leaving, and the one that was leaving was another manager, so I was the closing manager that day. And before she left, and I'm gonna say I'm just gonna use their initials, right? So um I remember this lady called like last minute. She wanted an all meat pizza. And I was like, okay, like I can get that done for you. She was like, yeah, I want all meat but no sausage. And I was like, cool, I'll get that ready for you whatsoever. Like it'll take about 15 minutes. Just, come over whenever you're ready. She was like, okay, cool, I'll be there in like 20. I was like, bet. So obviously I didn't say bet, but um but yeah, so I remember I did the pizza and I did it how she wanted it, no sausage, but she wanted all the other meat. And I was like, okay, so this pizza's done. Now it's just waiting for her. So she comes in, um, and she opens the boxes. She sees that there's no sausage on it. And she's like, okay, there's no sausage in this, right? And I was like, yeah, of course, no sausage. I made it myself, so you don't have to worry about that. She was like, okay, cool. So she paid and then left, right? I want to say about 15 to 20 minutes later, she called back and she was like, hey, I ordered this pizza like a little bit ago, maybe like, you know, I picked it up earlier. Um, but it has sausage and I asked for no sausage. And then I was like, okay, can I have the name and like your phone number or whatever so I could look up what order you're talking about? And I was like, oh wait, no, yeah, I made that pizza. There should be no sausage on there. She was like, well, there was. And I was like, oh, okay. Well, at the time, I was just super tired. I just wanted to go home. I was like, you know what? I'm not gonna argue with her. I'm just gonna give her a freebie this time. So I was nice enough to give her a freebie, and she had I was like, yeah, okay, I'll remake it for you, like free of charge. Just, I just need you to come and pick it up because I don't have anybody who could take it to you. I wasn't gonna go that extra mile. So she was like, okay, cool, I'll send my daughter to go pick it up in like 15 minutes. I was like, okay, that's fine. I'll have it ready for her. And just for the trouble, I'll give you an extra garlic sauce, like the same garlic sauce that you ordered earlier. She was like, okay, cool. Thank you very much. And then I was like, great. So I made it, sent it out. The daughter came, and Jay, the other manager, the original assistant manager of the store, she went and talked to the daughter, and the daughter grabbed the box, opened it, and she was like, okay, there's no sausage on this, correct? And Jay was like, yeah, there's no sausage. And she like grabbed a handful with like, she put on a glove, grabbed a handful and showed the daughter like what the sausage looked like. And she's like, just to give it a comparison, because like the chunks of sausage were like pretty big, so you could not mistake those for anything else other than sausage.
Yeah.
So she was like, okay, cool, like, thank you very much, really appreciate y'all's hard work, blah blah blah. And she dips. I shit you not, after like 10-15 minutes, the lady calls again, and Jay answers the phone. And I noticed, because I like, at this point I memorized the number, and I was like, Jay, I don't want to talk to them. I need you. Can you just like answer the phone? Can you take care of this while I finish up, inventory? And she goes, okay, yeah, sure, no problem. I'll do that and I'm gonna leave. And I was like, bet. So she answers the phone. She was like, blah, blah, blah. My name is blah. How can I help you? And she was like, yeah, I ordered this pizza twice and y'all still managed to get it wrong.
Girl,
I asked for no sausage and both of them came with sausage. And she was like, oh, did your daughter happen to come by and pick it up? And she was like, yes. And then Jay was like, okay, yeah, no. She opened the box. I showed her what the sausage looks like, and there was no sausage. And I showed her that it had no sausage. She opened the box. She saw it herself. And she was like, well, there is sausage on my pizza, so I don't understand what's going on here. And so then, dude, I was at the point where I finished inventory, and inventory takes at least about 30 minutes to get done.
Oh man.
And I go to the front and she's still on the phone with this lady.
Wow.
And I was like, yo, are you good? Like, what's going on? And she like mutes the phone so she could tell me what's going on. And then in the end, she goes back and I could hear the lady yelling at her. And I was like, bro, she must be so livid right now. Like, what's going on? So then Jay, I'm just there listening to the conversation because I just find it funny. And Jay goes, well, I'm telling you that there was no sausage. Two managers actually made your pizzas, and we know what our sausage looks like. And I showed your daughter what the sausage looks like, so there's no sausage on those pizzas. So then she was like, you know what? You want me to send you pictures of our sausage? I can send you pictures of our sausage. Just give me your phone number. Or as a matter of fact, I'll give you my phone number so I can send you the text. And then she was like, she put her on speakerphone and she was like, all right, send me the picture. Cause I'm telling you, there's sausage on this pizza. And she like she took Jay's number, sent her a picture of the pizza, and she was like, "Ma'am, there is no sausage on the pizza. I'm telling you, there is no sausage on the pizza." So Jay goes to take a picture of our sausage, and like I said, they're big chunks, so obviously you're gonna notice that they're sausages. And she sends the picture to the lady, and she goes, "That's exactly what I see on my pizza. Those are sausages
Oh
on my pizza."
man.
She got so mad, dude. And then she was like, at one point, mind you, I was only there for training, so I didn't have like the confidence at the time. And so then at one point Jay goes, "Well," and then she says her name. "Well, blank name." Um, she goes, uh shit, what was the, like, I'm trying to think of the exact words, but it was something along the lines of, "Well, I work here, so you can't tell me what our sausages look like and that I didn't put it on the pizza, and I know what our pizza looks like. So do you want to tell me like why you think you work here all of a sudden, and you can tell me what you see on your pizza?" And she got so mad to the point where she just hung up on the lady. And I was just like next to her, just laughing my ass off. It was just so hilarious to me. And it was like, it was towards the like last week of my time there, before I put in my 2 weeks, because I was just not having it with this place. As a matter of fact, I could talk about that too, but it's gonna take well over 10:30. um but there's so much happened that week that it was just so confusing. Like, if you were in my shoes, you'd be like, "What the fuck is going on with this week?" Um, which reminds me of another story that I have. And in the end, I kind of felt bad, but at the same time, I didn't. Um, there was this person. There was this person who called. This guy, who called and was like, "Hey, I want to place an order for pizza." Um, and I was like, "Okay, like, will this be for pickup, delivery? What's going on?" And he was like, "Oh, it's gonna be delivery. I'm too tired to go over there. Like, I've been working all day today, blah blah blah." I was like, "Okay." Like, in my mind, I'm like, "I don't need to hear your story. I understand what it's like. I just stop. Just tell me what it is that you need, and I'm done." Um, but anyway, so he was like, "Okay, yeah, so delivery, and here's my address." And like, I type in his address, and I'm like, "That doesn't seem like a familiar address." But I'm gonna type it in and see if I find it, because I'm new to the area. So then I'm like, I was like, "Can you repeat your address one more time, because I can't seem to find it on our system?" And he was like, "What do you mean? I order from here all the time." I was like, "No, I understand, but I mean, I'm new to the area, so I'm not really sure like what's going on. Maybe it's something to do with our system. I'm not too sure." So then he goes, "Okay," and then he like tells me his he tells me his address again. And he's like, "I'm not understanding what's going on. Like, I order from here all the time. I do delivery all the time." Um so then I was like, "Yeah, I don't know. Maybe it's the system. I don't know. I'd have to double check on this for with like the GM." So then I bring the GM over. Um so then he's like, "Okay, what's going on?" And I'm, explaining like, "Hey, he's telling me this address. It doesn't look familiar, so like this is brand new to me. It's probably not even a real address here, but you'd have to tell me because I have no idea." And he looks at the address. He goes, "There's no address like that here." And I was like, "Okay. So what should I do?" And he goes, "Well, question him a little bit longer and see if like maybe he just gave you the wrong like street name or something." And I was like, "Okay, fine." So I keep telling him like, "Hey, I'm so sorry. I'm still having trouble with this, like the computer. It's not showing me your address, and it's not showing me like an account under your name, and it's just like, it's weird." Um and I was like, I'm sorry about all these like the inconvenience. Um but if you want, I can go ahead and place your order, and you can come and pick it up, and like, we'll give you a freebie." And then he goes, "But I just told you I didn't want to go pick it up." And I was like, "Oh, well, I'm sorry. Like, it's not it's not something I can control. It's either, you know, it's either the system is failing on me, or I'm just, I don't know what's going on. And he goes, I don't get it. I live like 3 miles away from you guys. Why can't you just, place the
Bro.
order, blah blah blah. Like, can't you just send me the order without having to put it in the computer? I was like, well, in order for me to put it, like, in order for them to get the order, I'd have to put it through the computer. But I need your address because I need my drivers to know where they're going. And so then, either way, in the entire call, he was just being a big old douche, a big bag of jerk. And um and I was like, I'm so sorry. And so he ended up just hanging up on me. And so then the general manager was like, hey, I wanted to see if I could get you to ask him, but I mean, obviously you just got off the phone with him. um it looks like that address is only in Houston and not here in Waxahachie. And I was like, oh. I was like I should have like googled it myself so I could be like, but I ended up calling the guy back, and I was like, hey, I just had a quick question. Sorry, this is Kat from so and so place. um I was wondering, are you calling from Houston? And then he goes, yeah. And I was like, sir, you just called the location here in Waxahachie, Texas.
Oh my god.
And then he goes, no shit, are you serious? And I was like,
Oh no.
I was like, yeah, sir, this is a whole different location from where you're at. My GM actually just Googled your address, and the only address that came up was Houston, and you're nowhere near us. And then he goes, wow. And he goes, I am so sorry. And then he's like, I was like, hey, yeah, it's no problem. Just I can give you the phone number for the Houston location that's closest to you. But that's about it. That's all I can do for you. And he goes, I am so sorry. I was driving all day and I must have seen your number like on a different paper or something. And I just called and didn't think. I should have Googled it first. And I was like, it's okay. Like, it's not a problem. Um, and then he goes, wow. And then he goes, I'm so sorry. I was such a bitch to you. I was like, all right, yeah, no problem. Like, yeah, it's fine. And then, like, I was just like, just let it go. And it's like, whatever. So I hung up. And then maybe like an hour later, he calls again. And I answer because I was at the front. I answer and I'm like, hello, this is Kat with blah, blah, blah. How can I help you? And then he goes, hi, this is M calling from Houston again. And I just wanted to apologize again for how much I was bitching at you. And I was like, oh, hey, it's okay. Like, it's fine. I the only thing I can really tell you is, like, if you do happen to call Houston, like Houston's location, just don't be a dick. Like, I was straight up with him. I was like, don't be a dick, because they're not gonna be as nice as I was.
Yeah.
Like, I was trying to help you. I was trying to help you to my best ability, and for you to just be yelling at me and whatnot, just no, that wasn't really cool. But I'm not the type of person who loses my cool that easily. So if I were you, like, I'd give them a call and then just talk to them calmly. Don't be a dick. And he's like, yeah, no, I placed my order, and like I felt so bad that I wanted to call again and apologize again and blah blah blah. And he was like, yeah, I am so sorry you had to hear me bitching, and I was just so tired. And I was like, all right, it's cool, no problem. So then, I let it go and I hang up, right? So then I leave for the night, and so the GM was closing that night, and I come in the next day, and the GM was like, hey, you missed it. And I was like, what happened? And he goes, that guy from Houston called again to apologize to you. I was like, again?
God.
He already apologized to me like twice. It doesn't matter. I've already let it go. And he goes, yeah, like, he was, explaining to me what happened, and I was trying not to laugh the entire time. And he was just like, I acted like a little bitch and blah blah blah. And I was like, like, this man felt so bad. And as a matter of fact, the next day, like I said, he called again. and would
Oh
not
my
stop
gosh.
apologizing. And I was like, all right, look, I like at
That's
that point I was already annoyed. I was like, look, sir, I understand that you're sorry, so you do not need to keep calling
Yeah, that's
to
like
let me
borderline
know because you've
obsessive
already said it multiple
apologizing.
times. So I'm gonna need you to not call anymore. And if you really want to apologize for acting like a little bitch, call the Houston location so they can help you out, okay? But yeah, so I left like maybe a week, or no, I left like 2 days after that. Um, but it was just so funny that I was just like laughing my ass off in the car when I left. And I was just like,
Imagine he like called back again after you left, and they were like, "Yeah,
I'm
no, sorry,
pretty
she doesn't
sure
work."
he did because I actually got a text from one of the cashiers that I was like super friends with. And he was like, "Hey, there was a guy from Houston calling asking for you." And
oh my god.
I was like, mm. And like at the time I was like super tired. I wasn't really thinking about it. And I was like, oh, and I looked back at the text. I actually looked it up this morning while you guys were talking, and I found it. And he goes, "Hey, how have you been? Just wanted to let you know that a guy named M called the store asking for you." And I was like, "M?" And he goes, "Yeah, some guy from Houston." And I was
Oh
like,
my
"Oh my god." And then he goes,
That's
"Is this the guy that you're telling
crazy.
me about before you left?" I was like, "Yeah."
god. But like, imagine he calls back and they're like, "Yeah, no, sorry, she doesn't work here anymore," and he thinks that you like quit or something because of him, or like got fired or something because of him, and then
That
he
would be
like keeps
funny.
calling to apologize,
That
not
would
to
be
you, but
funny.
like just in general, that like he
Oh
got
my
one of the employees
god.
like fired. That'd be crazy.
That would be
Like he
funny.
keeps calling for something else to apologize.
Yeah, no,
You're
the
te-
sorry, continue.
no, I was gonna say you're telling me there's a man walking around my city who's probably calling that
Yes.
same people like every single day to
Yes.
apologize that he's upset
I promise
he
you. Yeah.
That
bitched at you.
Yes.
There's a man in
months
my
ago.
city.
Yes.
There's a
Months
man in my city. That's
Yes.
fucking weird.
ago, dude.
Like, bro, what?
He
How many
was
times
that
do you
he
need to
was that type of person.
apologize?
And the thing is, the one line that I remember him saying, like throughout, him bitching and whatnot, he specifically said, "I'm just trying to get food. I don't understand why you guys can't help me out on that." And he was like,
Bruh.
"I don't know why you guys don't want to serve me. Like, if you don't want to serve me, just tell me." And I was like, "It's not that we don't want to serve you. It's just that we can't find your address."
Yeah. He
So,
sounds
yeah.
like he has some other issues,
I
like
don't
Yeah.
say
know.
you were like an ex or something, like borderline stalkerish issue,
I was like, all right, calm
but at a pizza
down.
place.
Yeah, it was just like, I was just like, this man done, like, but in the end, like, the cashier had told him, like, yeah, she doesn't work here anymore. And he was like, oh, is she like, does she work at a different location? Because, like, I want to call her and be like, sorry, and blah, blah, blah. He was like, no, she
The
quit,
fuck?
like, the
That sounds like he
company.
was almost trying to stalk you, like
I
trying to
was
figure
just
out.
like, sir, calm down.
That
You've
feels
never
like
even seen
it.
me. Calm down.
Yeah, that feels like he was really trying to stalk you at that point. Like
Yeah,
after
it was
he realized
very,
it was very like weird.
yeah, it was very clingy type, and I'm like, I'm
Yeah,
not trying to do that, sir.
That's
I don't know you,
crazy.
so please leave it alone.
'cause, like after
Man,
the first
I
time
know how to
calling
let it
back or
go.
whatever, being like, yeah, oh, I'm so sorry, like that should have been it. But he keeps calling and asks for you specifically. Yeah, that's
There's
sounds real weird.
a difference between feeling really bad about it and then like just being so obsessive, being like, I need to let this girl know that
Yeah.
I'm sorry every day, or I don't know how often he would call. But oh my god.
Yeah,
It got
that's
to the
weird.
point where it was annoying, and
I
I
would have
was
blocked
just
his
like,
number.
I
From
told
the
the
store, I don't give a
cashier
fuck.
to block their number, seeing as how they were from Houston, so there was no reason for them to call again.
Yeah,
I don't
literally.
know if
Like
they ever
absolutely
did.
no reason besides just being weird.
What
Yeah,
if
no.
he
There's
like
no point in him calling multiple times like that.
what if like he tried like getting or the location obviously? What if he was gonna like move closer so that way he could apologize in person?
No.
That's
Yeah,
terrifying.
dude, that's
Wow.
literally
I'm
like
not
that's why I'm
having
like
it.
it almost seemed like he was trying to make sure that you were there. And then
Yeah,
like to
yeah.
apologize has
You
like
know,
his
I never thought of
excuse.
it that way. I was
Like
I
just like,
never
I thought he was just like super, like he felt super guilty or something.
no,
yeah,
that
that
sounds like
definitely
Yikes.
sounds like the beginning of a
he knew where
stalker.
you were.
Yeah,
Yeah.
he
Oh
was
my
trying to make
god,
sure
that
you were
sounds so
there.
bad.
No.
Yeah, like
Oh
he was trying to
my
make sure you
god.
were there, and when you were, he was just like, "Oh, well, I apologize." And like it just became him apologizing to you like over and over, very annoying.
Mm-hmm.
But it could have been him being like, "Let me see if she's there." Like maybe almost borderline getting your schedule type shit.
That's
It
scary. I
sounds
never
like
thought of
it.
it that way.
I never did either.
I have I used to have a stalker, so I think of shit in a really weird way because of that.
Dang. I don't know. I never thought of it that way. Mainly because like I've never really experienced that, at least to my knowledge.
I
Maybe
know,
I
at least
have
to
and
my
it's just
knowledge.
like,
I think I kind of did, but I think more like obsessive than stalker. But yeah, that's like a whole story for another time.
I'm sorry,
yeah, it's
okay.
I mean, I wouldn't mind going over it just a little bit.
I mean,
I'm
honestly,
having the best time of my life right now.
2 hour special episode because we missed a couple. I
I mean,
mean,
you know what? I'm down. I'm down if you guys are
fuck
down.
it, I'm down.
We
All
missed
right.
Bring
we
back
missed
more
2
shit.
episodes. Well, 2
Fuck it.
We
days.
did.
So,
We
I'm
really did.
We
down to
did,
go
yeah.
like full on like over the top time and just
Oh
like
yeah,
talk about our
for sure.
crazy stories. So, if you guys are down, I'm down.
Shit,
I
I got
have
the rest of my
nothing to
work.
do.
But you know what? I'm down. You know what? I'm gonna start the story.
All right, go
Fuck
ahead.
it, go
Go
on.
ahead. Take it,
Okay,
sister.
you were
Take it,
saying- you were
sister.
So
saying.
I'm not gonna use their name, but obviously for obvious reasons, like because I think they could, they followed me on Twitter, and I remember I would like you know the term soft block, right?
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, well I would soft block them, and then they would follow me again, like as if they were like, oh no, like they didn't catch the hint. I don't want them following me. They could be watching. I'm not gonna lie. So that's the part that freaks me out. Is that okay? So I knew this person since second grade. We used to be friends,
Mhm.
and then we dated for a few months. Not really. Like it was like a long distance, quote unquote, for like several months when I was in middle school.
Mm-hmm.
And then after we broke up, that was it. Like cut ties. We haven't talked to each other. And I think his sister was in like my grade or a grade below me, and I remember she talked to me once. She was like, "I heard you're dating my brother. I just want to let you know, like, um, don't hurt his feelings or whatever." And I was like, "Okay." Um, so after that, I had this friend at the time. I'm not gonna say her name either. Start with the initial. Her name was J.
Mhm.
And she told me, she was like, "Hey, did you used to be friends with this person like on Facebook?" And I was like, "Yeah, why?" They're like, "They mentioned you in a post. Like they said your name. They said, I miss my old friend Morgan. I miss her so much. I wonder where the time went." And I was like, "I haven't talked to this man in years, and you're telling me he's still like bringing me up." Apparently, he brought me up a lot, I guess, talking about how much he missed me when I hadn't talked to him in years, and we hadn't like. And I would see him at the store sometimes. Like I'd see him with his new girl. I'm pretty sure he's over it now. I hope so. But I would see him at the store quite a few times, and he would come up and he would say hi. He would always try to like talk to me and try to catch up, but I didn't really want to because I didn't really like. If they're watching, I hope not. uh, it's not like I didn't want to be their friend. It's just that after she told me that he was talking about me in Facebook posts and like to other people, even though I hadn't like talked to him, it brought out like this really creepy vibe. He could
Yeah.
have been stalking me because like he brought me up a lot for no reason. I hadn't seen him or talked to him, messaged him, none of that for years. And I was like, that's very weird. I don't like that at all. So I would always try to keep my distance. And then whenever he followed me on Twitter, I would soft block him like immediately or like an hour later, and then the next day it would be this person followed you. I'd do the same thing. Next day, this person followed you. Like, I don't get what hint you're not catching. And then they would try to like catch up. Like they're being nice, but I don't want to be friends with somebody who's constantly talking about me when I haven't talked about them or heard, like they were like non-existent for years. And then they're like always talking about me, posting about me and everything. So I was like, all right, like that's it. So I still tried to block them, but they still like my stuff to this day.
Mm.
But we were never really like super close friends. Like we were at one point, but that was like middle school,
Mm-hmm.
and then that was it. Like he would always bring up stuff from the past, like elementary, middle school stuff, and we would be like graduated or almost graduating high school, and I thought that was really weird.
Yeah, that's
seems
crazy.
weird.
Yeah, like that's a horrible vibe. Like
It's a horrible
you just think
vibe.
about it, you're just like ugh, ugh. Like you just ugh.
It was it felt weird. Like I like my privacy. I don't like when people talk about me behind my back. So um whenever I heard about it, I was like, that's really weird. Like, especially when they would be like, I miss you, where have you been? Where have you gone? Where's my friend Morgan? And a Facebook post. Like not even like texting me and being like, hey, like I miss how we used to be as friends or anything. Like, no, this man was like posting about it. Like she showed me the post and I was like, oh my god. That's weird. That's like
Really weird.
that's fucking weird. But that's
Yeah,
my
I
kind of,
like
I think, almost borderline stalker story.
yeah, that's pretty creepy. I don't like that.
Mm-mm.
I would not like that in that scenario. Just to find out that he was posting about you constantly and you didn't find out until that one where she was like, hey, he's talking about
Yeah.
you, is just so ugh.
I wasn't even friends with him on Facebook too either, so I had no way of seeing it until she showed me it because he brought up my whole name.
Yeah, that's crazy because like he was literally like just talking about you then. Like it wasn't even like because you would see it. He was just talking about you. That's crazy.
Mm-mm-mm.
Don't like that. Do not like that at all.
Oh no.
Oh my
That
goodness.
reminds me of a scenario that happened during
No.
lockdown. Sorry, it's just like it just came to mind because I haven't thought about it in like so long. I was just like, whatever, and I blew it off. But now that you were talking about that, it's just like, oh, like it just reminded me of this minor incident. During lockdown, I used to work at this other pizza, like kids arcade place. Um, and it was just two of us working at the time because of lockdown. Like a lot of people didn't get to go outside and uh COVID and whatnot. So it would be just the managers working. So it was me and an older manager that we called mom at the time because she was like a mom to all of us. Um we were working and she was in the back making the pizzas and like cleaning the kitchen and whatnot, and I was at the front, and we were literally closing in like 15 minutes, so we had time for one more order for like one or two pizzas. Okay. um so he came in and he had this accent. I can't really place it, but he was like, hey, like I saw the sign on your window, it's like $5 pizzas. I was like, yeah, we have our, like, it's a sale we have because of like lockdown and everything, so we're trying to help as much as we can to like lower our prices, so people aren't freaking out about how much they're spending or whatever. So he was like, okay, is that for like all pizzas with like toppings and everything? Or I was like, no, that's just for cheese, but if you want to add toppings, it's gonna be like $1 each topping. So he was like, okay, um, I want to order, he wanted like 8 of them, like 8 pizzas. And it was gonna be 1 cheese, 1 pepperoni, and the rest were gonna be like veggie type, like veggies and like supremes.
Mhm.
And I was just like, oh, we only have time for like 1 or 2 pizzas. And he was like, oh, okay, well, can you make at least like 5 pizzas? And I was like, no, I can't make that many. Like, we're literally closing. And like the whole conversation just took about 10 minutes. So we were already closing in 5. And I was like, sir, we're like really close to closing here. And we got to turn everything off because we got to be out of here at closing time. Like, we cannot stay.
Yeah.
So then I was explaining to him that, you know, we I had to give a little white lie and be like, yeah, no, the computer just shut down on me. I'm so sorry. Like, they have a timer, like it's got its own timer, so it shuts down whenever it's closed, like close to closing time. And he goes, oh, so I can't order my pizzas? I was like, no, I'm sorry, you can't order. But there is another pizza place like down, like way down the street.
Way down, far away
Like,
from me.
You
far.
went all the way. You know what? Go
He
like
wanted me to give him
5
directions. I'm
miles
like,
down that
sir.
way.
I'm like, sir, give me directions. I mean, yeah, sure, I could give you the directions, but I need you out of here. But he was like, hey, I just had a question. He was like, I was wondering if you wanted to go get some drinks one day. And I was like, that's crazy. I can't because I'm underage.
I'm literally a minor.
I'm literally a minor. So I need you to walk out now. And he goes,
You gotta go.
he's like, how old are you? And I was like, at the time I just turned 19, 18, 19. And so I told him, right? And he goes, what? You're like so mature. I thought you were like 20 something, like early 20s. I was like, no, you're talking to an underage drinker. Anyways, no, but yeah, he was like, well, can I have your number? And I was like,
Dude,
no.
I just
I was like, no.
said.
He was like, can I have your number? I was like, oh, I'm not very comfortable giving out my number. He's like, can I leave you my number? Like, you
Dude.
text me whenever you want and blah blah blah. And I was like, at this point I just want him gone. So I was like, yeah, just write it down on a piece of paper here. Just write it down on this piece of paper. And then he was like, okay, like just text me or call me whenever you want, blah blah blah. And I was like, yeah. And then he like leaves, right?
Mm-hmm.
He's like, okay, like I hope we can catch a cup of coffee like sometime, and and whatnot. And he was like, I just you're just very beautiful. And I was like, sir, I gotta like close now, so can you like
Thanks, but you still gotta go.
Thank you. I really appreciate the compliments, but I actually have to close, so I need to lock the doors. So I just need you to like walk 3 steps backwards. You'll be out of the door and I'll close the door and I'll lock it. So then he was like, okay, like just text me or whatever, like call me. I picked up the paper and I think he saw me doing this. I picked up the paper and I threw it like in the trash can.
Oh, God.
I thought he went to his car. I literally thought he went to his car, but I didn't expect him to just stay there at the door. And I picked up the paper, threw it in the trash can because the trash can was like out of the open. So I threw it in the trash can and I went to the back to talk to mom. And I was like, hey, like this really weird thing happened. And she goes, so I told her what happened. She goes, that's a little creepy, but I mean, no, she was like, that's creepy, but you are a very beautiful girl. So, just take the compliments and just tell him to leave, right? And I was like, yeah, bet, you know, like that's what I did. And she goes, well, what did you do with his number? And I was like, I threw it in the trash. And she goes, okay, good, because I don't want you, like, you know, getting yourself into trouble. And uh as we were walking out and you know, we were locking the door, we noticed that his car was still there. And I was like,
Dude.
yo, I was like,
That's
Mom, can
fucking
you,
weird.
like, she was like getting in her car and she noticed the car and she goes, hey, whose car is that? And I was like, I don't know. And then I see him just like sitting in his car looking at his phone. And
Dude.
um I was like, oh shit. I was like, oh fuck, Ma. And she goes, what? And she goes, and so I was like, it's that dude that gave me his number. And she goes, okay, you know what? She was like, hold on, let me put my stuff and I'm gonna stay out here with you. I'm gonna wait till he leaves. And I was like, okay, great, because I don't feel comfortable, you know, trying to get in my car, because my car at the time, like, it was pure shit, like it was absolute piece of garbage.
Yeah.
And so then she stayed with me. We were just talking, and I guess he noticed that she was there. He like turned on his car and left, right?
No.
And I was like, Mom, like, I honestly I want to be honest with you. Can we stay here a little bit longer? Because I don't want him to like see my car and follow me home.
Yeah, be like down the street or something.
Yeah, because I lived like pretty, like, I was like 15 minutes away. It wasn't that far, but still, I was a little bit creeped out. And so then I was like, yeah, can you just stay with me a little bit longer? I just want to make sure that he like fully leaves. I don't want him following me. And she goes, yeah, no, don't worry. And she was like, do you want me to give you a ride home? And I was like, no, it's fine, like I can go home. I just want to wait till he, like, I know for sure he's not behind me or anything.
Yeah.
But in the end, like, you know, we stayed there for a good like 30 minutes to an hour because we lost track of time. We were just like talking about stuff. And I was like, okay, like I gotta go, like it's already getting late, blah blah blah. But yeah, so in the end, like, we left. I never saw him again, thankfully. And then I remember what happened. I remember I told one of the other managers, N, I'm gonna call him N, but he was a really cool manager. I loved him dearly. He was a really good friend. And I told him what happened, and he goes, ooh, you trying to get yourself a boy? I was like, no. He was that kind of manager where he would like joke around, you know. He was really cool. I miss him. I'm gonna text him after this podcast. But yeah, and it was just like, I enjoyed my time working there, especially because of like the managers that were like good people, you know, like those were the people you could talk to and like, you know, joke around with and not get like, not have that tension of like stress and work and whatnot, because they would always take my mind off of things when it came to work. But yeah, it was definitely a creepy experience. I don't think the only other, I haven't told anybody else that. It was just Mom and N, and that was it. But yeah, I bet you if I went to go visit Mom, she would be like, oh yeah, I remember that.
I totally remember that. It's crazy times.
But yeah, it was very creepy. I did not like that at all.
Yeah, no, people like that are just like, the fact that he was sitting there even though you said you had to close, like, just, it's almost borderline, like you can tell that he was more than likely gonna follow you wherever you went.
Yes.
Or like wait for you to walk out by
because if that was the case, I was gonna
like,
try and
come
just
to your
drive
car.
around the city, like try and lose him
Yeah.
downtown or something.
Yeah, no, the one time I had somebody like behind me and I like noticed it because I was like shopping and there was this dude that like would not stop. Like he was like in the aisles I was in, like constantly following me everywhere. And when I left, I realized that there was this car behind me for like a long time. Cause like I had gone to the store like next to my job, like it was a completely different job. And it was like maybe a 20-minute drive like to my house. And I noticed him like 10 minutes in. And I literally drove around for like a couple more minutes, made a few turns I didn't need to take, and like he like made those turns. And I literally like at the next light I was like nearest police station, and I drove to the police station and he followed me, and I pulled into the parking lot and he just like kept going past my parking spot and then left. And I was like, oh, gross. It's so creepy. Oh my god. So yeah, I don't know. Him sitting there just definitely makes me feel like he was gonna follow you.
Yeah, no, I was just like creeped out the entire time, and I was like, "Mom, please stay with me," because I was not about to, Oh my god, it was scary, man.
Yeah,
That,
no.
that reminds me of some kind of a stalkerish, more like this guy was extremely creepy. I had not spoken a word to him. He never spoke a word to me, but he was watching me like a hawk. So it was in high school, and there's like a McDonald's really close by my high school. So a group of friends and I after school we would walk to the McDonald's, so we would hang out, right? And as we're waiting in line, I'm just chilling, and my friends go, "Hey, that dude's staring at you like hard." And I turn, and it's this really old man fucking hawking me down, just staring. Not like any like he sees my friends, and all my friends were guys, but this man is staring me down like he has a problem. And I was like, okay, so we're standing in line, we go sit down, this man's still staring. Like this man has no like chill about anybody around him, just noticing this man staring. He's just eyeballing. So we're
Mhm.
sitting there, we stay there for a while, and eventually he gets up and leaves, and he sits in his car, and he stays in his car for a little bit, and he's staring at me. This is like probably like my sophomore, junior year, so I'm still a minor, and this man was clearly an old man, like gray hairs, balding, like wrinkles you could clearly see. And then he stayed there for a little bit, and then he took off. And my friends were like, "Yeah, if he had tried anything, I would have beat him up." And I was like, they didn't really see it too much of as an issue either. They were just thought he was really weird. But in my mind, like, obvious guys don't think the same as women. They
Yeah,
really don't.
Mhm.
they don't.
Because
For sure.
I was like, no, y'all don't get it. Because I was fucking terrified. Yeah, I'm around a group of guys. Like, there's been another scenario where we would be walking around like this park at night, and I was around the same people.
Mhm.
And there's a lot of bushes at this park, and it was dark, and I kept looking around like cautiously. And my friends were like, "Why are you looking around? Like, we'll protect you." I was like, "That's not the point. The point is somebody could come out of these bushes, and they could do whatever. They could
Yeah,
they could attack y'all. They could do whatever." But in their minds, they don't see that. They think they're fine because, well, they don't really have to worry about it. Guys don't really have to worry about all that stuff.
Yeah.
for sure.
So I had to lecture them about being like, dude, anywhere I go, especially late at night, I have to look around. I can't just sit here and pretend like I'm gonna be just fine with y'all. Like, no offense to y'all. Y'all could probably beat up whoever, I don't care. But the thing is the fact that there are perverts, there are predators, and I'm a little person. I'm a little bitty person. At the time I was littler, I was like really very skinny.
Mhm.
So I was like, I know I could be overpowered, and I'm terrified. That was terrifying. But yeah,
Yeah,
no.
no. Honestly, guys definitely, absolutely do not think the way we do because literally, like, couple months ago, maybe like a month ish, a little bit over a month ago, um, we had to go pick up a package because like they said they like tried to deliver it, but like we didn't open the door or whatever, so they like put it like at this place and we had to like walk.
Mhm.
And so we walked to the place, whatever, and I'm like tired as fuck. I'm like, I don't want to really like, obviously, like, can't not walk, but I was like, we needed to stop by like the store really quick first, and then like we were gonna go back home. And
Mhm.
I was like, I don't feel like waiting like outside the store because like I didn't feel like going into the store. Like he just needed to. And so I was like, I don't feel like going into the store. Like I was like, is it okay if I just like keep walking like back to the apartment? And he was like, is that what you want to do? Like, are you sure? And I was like, yeah, no, it's fine. Like, I know my way from here. Like, I was fine.
Mhm.
And he was like, okay. So he gave me the keys and like he went to the store and I just like kept going. And I was like down the street from the apartment, like literally like I needed to go like 30 more feet and like around the corner and I would have been like at our apartment.
Mhm.
And there's this truck and like instantly my mind kicks into this gear. Like it's instant. the truck is on and it's idling, and I heard it, and my brain was like, head down, just keep walking.
Right.
Like, don't look up, don't look at the truck, just go.
Right.
Like, I had the key in my pocket. Like, you know how you like put the key like in between your fingers, like
Yes,
do
I
that when
do
go
that
walking
too,
to
and
my
I
mom's house.
yeah, if you need to punch or whatever, like it's
Yeah.
just, like the key. Yeah. So there's like a couple keys on the key ring. So I had like two like in between like my knuckle, and I like had it in my pocket, and I was like, just head down, keep walking, just go. So I passed the truck. I'm like a few steps past the truck, like I'm going, and I hear, "Excuse me," man's voice. "Excuse me," and I was like,
Nope, keep going. Power walk, power walk, power walk.
and he goes, "Excuse me," and I like, because there was another like person that had like walked past ish, so I thought they were talking to them. So I like, I don't know, I have this bad thing, like I have a half and half, like my brain, like I look, but the other part of my brain is like, keep going.
Yes.
So the look part of my brain won in that moment, because I was like, are they talking to me or are they talking to someone else?
Mm-hmm.
So he was talking to me, and like, oh, keep in mind, I should point out, it's dark outside.
Oh my god.
Like it's like getting dark outside, so like that's even more where I was like, just keep walking, like just go,
just keep going. Yep.
So I turn around, and he's like, his head is poked out the window, and it's like, okay, well, I've obviously looked at this man now, like I like know he's talking to me, and it's even more terrifying to leave when they've now been acknowledged than when they weren't acknowledged.
Exactly.
So I was like, okay, I'll just finish this conversation and then I'll go. So I'm like, I turn around, and he like makes it known that he's talking to me, and he's like, "Hi." And I was like, "Hello," like kind of stepped a little bit further from the van, like, but like made it known that I was like, acknowledging him.
Yeah.
And he was like, "Do you know if this is like this street?" And I was like, I'm honestly not sure. I think it is, but it could be that next one. I'm honestly not sure. And he was like, "Oh, okay, like, thank you." And I was like, "Yeah, okay, cool." And I like start to walk away, and he's like, "So, like, do you have a boyfriend?" And I was like, he was like, "Are you taken?" And I was like, yeah, I do. I have a boyfriend. And he was like, "Oh, okay, yeah, like," and he was like, "That figures are really pretty." And I was like, "Well, thank you." Like, I'm not gonna not say thank you. First of all, just regardless, like, thanks, like, cool. It's like, a compliment.
I know.
No. But I was just like, "Okay, thank you." And he was like, "Yeah, okay." And then I just like walked away. And it's like, in a man's mind, he saw me, thought I was pretty enough to try and see if he could, flirt with me.
Mm-hmm.
It's dark outside. You're sitting in a truck that I could easily be pulled into, and you're stopping me on a borderline kind of empty-ish. Like, there are people driving by and there are people walking, so it's like, it wasn't like there was nobody around. If there was nobody around, I would have kept going.
I'm sorry. I'm laughing because it's like you're listing these things as if you're like a detective. Like, we've already seen so much true crime documentaries. We're just like, truck on, idling, wait.
Yeah, dude,
asking for directions.
That's exactly how it is.
Asking for directions. But yeah, like, literally, he was just like, I mean, maybe his whole thing was like, he could have totally known which street he was on, and he just like wanted a way into like, a conversation. I don't fucking know. But in his
trying
head,
too hard. Interesting.
Yeah. In his head, like, this is like the perfect plan. Pretty lady, I'm just gonna stick my head out the window, call out to them, ask them if they're single, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Me, this is a man in a truck sticking his head out the window, talking to me, potentially getting my guard off of something around me.
Mm-hmm.
I'm terrified, and he's flirting.
Yeah.
And I was like, just like, yeah, okay, thanks, and like walked. Like, because I will admit, I am not the fittest. So like, while I was talking to him, I was like catching my breath. I was like breathing and just kind of like, yeah, thanks, whatever. I stopped talking to him, and I like mom fast walked it to the apartment. I was like,
power walk.
Literally, I power walked, and then I kind of waited before I turned the corner, and then like I made sure, because like I kind of turned around like subtly, and he was like going the opposite way down the road, like he had moved.
Mm-hmm.
So I like turned the corner quick, and I like went into the thing before he could like turn the car around and see where I was going, any of that. Because the way our apartments is, there's a door at the bottom, and then there's a hallway, and there's two like people under, and then you go up the stairs, and it's us and like our next door neighbor.
Right.
So like I booked it into the door. So it's like, I mean, at that point you don't know what apartment I'm in, and you don't know where I went. But like it's literally like it's so crazy because he was just like, "Ooh, perfect opportunity. Like she's pretty. I'm gonna ask." And I'm like, this truck is on? Hell fucking no."
Yes.
And then I hear him talking to me, and I'm like, "Oh my fucking god!" Like whole time he's talking to me, I'm just kind of like inching backwards, kind of like looking around. Like I picked up on it. Like I realized that he could tell that I was like a little nervous because he was like, "I'm sorry for like," he was like, "I'm sorry if this is like weird," or like I don't remember. I think he was like, "I'm sorry," or um he was like, "I'm sorry if I scared you." Like he could tell that I was like ready to go.
Terrified. Yeah,
Yeah.
horrified.
He
Yeah.
was like, "I'm sorry if I scared you," or like that I scared you, or like whichever way he said it. And I was just like, "No, it's cool." Okay, bye.
Yeah, no,
But
for
like,
sure.
men really don't think about it that way.
No,
Like,
as a
they're
matter of
just like,
fact, I can prove to you that women think this way almost every day because on TikTok, if you go on TikTok, you'll see that most guys will be posting videos as like, oh, me watching true crime with my babe. And it's the girl like eating popcorn and like fascinated into this
yeah,
like true crime documentary, and the guy is horrified.
yeah,
And the thing is, we notice these things. We're very observant. Women, most women are, at least.
yeah,
Most women are very, very, very observant. So they'll watch all of these true crimes. They'll already have a mentality of like, what kind of guy is this? Like,
yeah,
what will he do? He's asking these questions. He's being a little iffy about it. He's nervous, you know?
yeah,
So it's like, okay, for you, it's like, okay, the truck is on. It's not moving, but there's somebody in it. And
yeah,
asking for directions, but he's trying to like all of a sudden he's like, do you have a boyfriend?
yeah.
Like,
The
wait, this is a
conversation
little off.
progressed even
Yeah.
longer. Yeah,
Everything to us, it's like we're trying to look out for ourselves because it's just already hard enough to like for somebody else to try and look out for us.
yeah,
It's like, especially for the girls who are not in a relationship, right? You never, you don't have a guy or another girl or whoever with you, and it's like, when we walk home alone, or when we're walking to the store, or when we're driving to the store, we're walking into the store, it's just stuff like that. It's like anything could happen at any moment, and
when I
it's
go
the
to the
scariest
store,
shit ever.
yeah, when I go to the store, like I commonly make note of like just like I don't even know when I started doing it. I think partially when the dude like followed me, and like a little bit before that, honestly. I make note of cars that are like still there, and like I kind of wait when I turn my car on to see if any car turns on after that, like pretty soon after that. I wait to see if they leave first. If I leave, like if I need to go or like whatever, I see if they're behind me. Like you just like make a list of like random shit, and it's like it's crazy because like he had also asked me how old I was, and like off rip, like I'm not a minor, I'm not like a child, like it's whatever, like I'm 20, but like my brain was like 21. Like I don't know why, but like for some reason I was just like, I gave him 21. Like my brain was just like, not your real age.
Right.
Like some people have like a specific age. So I was like, maybe if I'm old enough to drink, like I'm less, like I don't know
But see,
why.
that's
Like
the thing though. You never know with these guys, because some
yeah,
guys are like, oh, she's 21, take her out for drinks, get her
yeah,
drunk
and then
enough.
do something with the drink, or yeah, get her drunk. Yeah.
And then
And
if you
not
say you're underage, or like if you're like really young or whatever, cool, she's underage.
yeah, they could be like a really nasty
Mm,
dude.
mm,
Yeah,
exactly.
You
and
know
like
what's crazy?
not to be like slightly
Hmm.
kind of sexist, because there are like, because you said like some women, like there are men who think the way that some like most women do, like not to be like men never do, like there are some men that think the way that women do, and there are women that don't think the way that women do. So I just want to put it out there that we're not like, oh my god, men never and women always.
Yeah, No.
So there are both that think and don't think. So just putting that out there. We're not sexist, I promise. It's just commonly women will think like that more than
Yeah.
men.
Mm-hmm.
There was a time I used to be friends with these two girls in my high school, and she lived also close by the McDonald's, but she also lived by, well, we would go visit the McDonald's. My bad. Should ignore the other thing I was about to say. And
Okay.
and it would be the three of us. And then when I met, this was around the first time me and JP dated. Uh, so he started hanging around us because I was excited for him to meet my friends. And uh, we would go to McDonald's all the time, and we liked getting the ice cream, but we would walk because it was closest, and none of us really could drive because we were like, what, 15 maybe. And I remember every time we would walk back to her apartment, it was a busy street, we would walk by it, and cars and trucks would honk, but you could clearly tell we're students because we had backpacks on. There's a fucking high school right there,
Mm-hmm.
and I have my badge. Like, we all have our badges around our necks. And I remember we went with JP, and we're walking, and these cars are honking, like, right? Like, I don't, obviously, I'm like making note of it, like watching the street, but at the same time, like, I'm like, whatever, it's like just car honks. And JP's just glaring at all these cars driving by honking. And he's like trying to, like, he's being very protective.
Mm-hmm.
And for some reason, my friends were like, yeah, they told me in private. I remember I told him this too. I hope he remembers. But they were saying, oh, the look he was giving the cars and you, he looked very scary, like he would hit you or something. Like, he looked so angry. And I was like, that man would not lay a finger on me, first of all. And second of all, there are grown men honking at us, and you think the bad guy is JP?
Right.
Most
What?
likely.
What makes that make sense?
Literally,
Like, I'm gonna beat his ass
hello?
if he lays a finger on me. What the fuck?
Right? She's like,
Yeah.
I'm small, but I'm mighty. Fuck.
I'm small, but
was
I'm
like-
feisty as fuck.
Yeah,
Rudy's, what the fuck?
it was so weird to me. It's like they were trying to talk me out of the relationship, which I don't know why.
Ayo.
Like, he had done nothing bad.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, this doesn't make any sense, because you're saying, oh, the look he gave me and the cars, it looked like he would, like, be upset about the cars honking at me. He would be mad at me for that. And I was like, no. You guys don't know how he is, but I know for a fact this man, if he were to accidentally bump me, he probably would cry. To this day,
Aw.
if he were to bump me, he would probably cry. That man would not lay a finger on me. So when they said that, I was like, yeah, no, I don't think I like who I'm hanging out with. So I don't talk
Yeah.
to them, but that's not because why we stopped talking. It's like a whole different story. But
Damn.
Yeah, that's crazy.
yeah, but I still don't understand. That doesn't make any sense. This man obviously sees the wrong that's happening and is upset that these grown men are honking at minors, clearly fucking underage girls. And my friends are like, oh, your boyfriend's being really, like, sketchy. Like, what?
Yeah,
There
Completely
Girl,
he's
bye.
completely warped sense of reality.
Yeah, so yeah, I don't talk to them anymore.
That's crazy.
I wouldn't either. That's crazy.
Yeah, no, that I would have definitely left that relationship a long time ago. Not I mean, like, friendship, sorry.
No, yeah, the friendships, yeah.
Sorry, yeah, I had to rephrase. But yeah, no, that's
Nah, I would have dropped JP in the dirt.
You know what? Kick him into all that traffic with all those honking cars.
Into traffic.
Oh, but it's good to know that you've got somebody who's there to, like, protect you as much as he can.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
scary,
Obviously,
though.
he's a softie, but
Yeah, he's a soft-
but
they don't
when
know
it-
that.
yeah, they don't know that. But if it's to your immediate danger, he's gonna be there to protect you.
Oh,
And
for sure.
Mhm.
I'm just glad to know that that's, that he's there for you.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
So I'm just saying, like, a lot of guys don't get how women, like, by themselves, it's terrifying. Like, you have to watch out for your own back, and
Yeah.
even then, it's like, am I gonna be able, like, if I walk I like to walk to my mom's house because it's like around the corner, like literally like a minute walk, maybe even. But I always have my keys between my knuckles, and nobody likes that I go on walks, and you guys probably won't either. But I
Mhm.
like to go walking just because I like the fresh air, and I don't go out on walks that much. So when I walk, I like walking to my mom's house.
Mhm.
But
Yeah.
everybody's like, I can give you a ride or I can pick you up. I'm like, no, I just want to walk. But I'm always watching. I'm always watching everything. I look at everybody's house. I see the cars. I see the people and whatnot. And I have my keys in between my fingers at all times until I reach my mom's house. And even then, I'm looking around, making sure nobody's staring at the house or whatever. And everybody's like, I see it's a very big deal. Nobody wants me walking. I can very much see it, but I'm comfortable.
Mhm.
Yeah.
It's like they always want to make sure there's a guy by my side so that way I don't get snatched or anything. But the thing is, I know my neighborhood right now, or at least that little corner. I know I'll be all right.
Yeah, for sure.
They're probably gonna yell at me after this podcast, being like, "You don't know what you're talking about."
No, but
But yeah,
yeah,
no,
it's
people see women as they need another person. Like, at least guys don't understand that.
yeah,
So, like that guy talking to Allie, thinking it's no big deal, he doesn't like realize that he's terrified.
it's
Yeah.
Or
like
the guy
he
in the parking lot.
yeah, exactly. It's like the guys don't
Yeah.
realize that we're playing like freaking 20 different scenarios happening at one
Literally.
time
Like
in
he
our
could be chill, or
minds.
he could be like the world's next biggest serial killer, and like I'm his
Exactly.
type.
Yeah.
Like there's no in between. Well, there's a
In
bunch
my,
in between, but like there's no in between
Yep.
in
in
our
my mind, I'm solving my own murder.
Exactly. There you go. You're just like
I'm
okay,
like, what am I
it
wearing? Who left
was
on me? Like,
it's literally you're like putting time and dates like January 30th 2023, right? And freaking 11 a.m. goes to the store, never comes back. It's like, okay,
yeah,
who did she talk to? Who did she walk by? Like, you're trying to solve your own murder, like
was
your
it cash?
own
Was it credit
case.
card?
Yeah,
Did she
exactly.
get gas first? Do we have
Receipts.
an
Where are the
exact
receipts?
timeline on when she left and when we thought she went missing? Yeah,
check the
that's
I'm
just
check the
even like the
CCVs.
news. What would the news say? What is my picture gonna look like?
Yeah, exactly.
what's my the picture?
Starts looking through her
If I
phone.
get kidnapped.
Starts looking through her phone. Sends the picture to GP. Like, hey, this is my the picture in case I
If
ever
I
go
get
missing.
kidnapped, give
Nothing
this to
else but
Scott.
this one.
No, there
If
was
I
a
go
show.
missing and I'm watching the news and they're not using the picture, like
I
listen,
will be
like,
very
I'm
upset with you, mister.
I'm gonna come back. There was a show, I can't remember what it was called, but like this lady, like it was like like a kind of fictional show basically. Like it wasn't like based on a true story or whatever. Like this lady literally said that like she would take pictures of when her children left, like what they were wearing and when they left. Like she would make a note of it just in case they didn't come home from school. Like she would take
Smart.
pictures, like she claimed that like to the kids, like it was like, oh, going to school pictures, like yada yada yada, but like she was keeping them like just in case one of them
Oh,
or both of them like didn't come home from school,
right,
so she could instantly give the picture to the cops and be like, this is what they were wearing this morning when they left, I promise you.
right.
And like that's crazy to
That
think about, because it's like that's such a almost woman and maternal thing
right.
to be like,
Mhm.
if my kids go missing, I need to know what they're wearing, so I'm gonna take a picture.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like,
I've
damn.
seen this TikTok where this guy he put an Apple AirTag into the little, what is it called on your shoe? The
The tongue.
the front part, the tongue. He would like cut it open, put the Apple AirTag into his daughter's shoe, and then yeah, and then he would send her to school. Like he sewed it up and everything, make sure it was hidden, but he would make sure that like he knew where his daughter was at all times because you could tell she was a little girl because of how small the shoe was.
Mm-hmm.
But I thought that was pretty smart. Was that he did that in case she would get snatched, and she's always gonna have her shoes on. At least I hope.
Right.
So
Yeah, tie him tight, yeah.
And
he'll
see,
always have, or if she gets snatched, he could see where she goes.
Yeah.
right, yeah. And see, that's the like. It's sad to think about that parents have to think that way. because
Yeah,
of
exactly.
how much shit has already happened. And it's like, you know, maybe they haven't experienced it, but they don't want to either. Like they're trying
Yeah,
their best to avoid that because of how many parents have already gone through that, and they're going through literal like depression and you know, guilt trips and whatnot on their own
yeah, exactly.
because they couldn't think of something to avoid having their child abducted. And
Yeah,
it's the most, honestly, every time I see something like that happen, it breaks my heart.
Yeah, it's
absolutely,
devastating.
absolutely.
And it's like it's
Like
gotten to the
anybody
point where
can.
I'm like, I'm the older sister here, you know, and I've got my younger sister and I've got my baby brother. And I'm like, I don't want anything to happen. So, I'll tell my sister like, "Hey, keep your location on your phone on at all times. I don't care
Yeah.
what I don't care where you're going. I just need to know where you are at all times."
Mhm.
And then with my
Hmm.
brother, I'm like right now I can't do anything cuz I like, my knees still fucked up, sadly. But
Yeah.
when it comes to my brother, like if it's like my mom, if she goes like, "Hey, I can't pick up your brother right now, can you do it for me?" I'll immediately like rush over there to make sure that I get him and nobody else.
Yeah, and nobody else can like pretend to be you or a family member. Yeah.
Exactly. And it's just like, now that you're telling me like, oh, like AirTags. Obviously, I don't have Apple products, so I can't use
Hmm.
AirTags, but I'm still like trying to figure out a way to make sure that I can make sure where he's at all times. And then, and it's just like scary to think about. And I'm only I'm only their older sister, and it's just super duper scary for me.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, I always try to keep my location on, and I tell JP to keep his on because we have our location shared on like Google Maps or whatever.
Mhm.
And he turns his off. I forgot why. I think he said it because it drains his battery, and some of his coworkers see it as, oh, she's just trying to keep you in check. Like we've
Dude,
already
see, that's
agreed.
the
Like that's
thing
not the
though.
point. The point is that I'm trying to make sure he gets home okay. Like if his location
Yeah,
is stuck and frozen on the highway, I will be terrified.
Yeah,
yeah,
dude. And
exactly.
Or
it's like not every woman is trying to keep their man in check. It's just that we want to make sure
Exactly.
that they get home safely or they get to work safely. If they're in a car accident, how the fuck am I gonna know?
Yeah, like some of these
yeah,
bitches are psychotic, but me, I love my man, and I would like to for him to come home. Like
Yeah, exactly.
I
yeah,
want to make
it's
sure he's okay.
terrifying. Like sometimes, like, if I look at my Google and I see it hasn't been updated, it's just because he turned off his location because it's draining his battery. Like, good on you, like, you're keeping your battery up, right? Because you're gonna keep texting me. But I get scared sometimes just because, like, he travels every day through the freeway, and that's the only way he can get to work. But the thing is, there's always like 18-wheelers and stuff because
Yeah,
there's plants around. So I get terrified, especially because of all the accidents and stuff that usually happen on the freeway. Like
Hmm.
there's I've lost schoolmates, I've seen, that lady I talked about, I think in like the first episode. Like it's been really insane. So if I
yeah,
get really scared when he goes to work, especially
Yeah.
now that he's sick, like
yeah,
I'm terrified.
Yeah,
But they
no.
don't see that as that. They see it as, oh, I'm just trying to make sure he doesn't, like, he's actually supposed to go where he's gonna go, like, not like to a girl's house or something.
Yeah, no. Like if you have that type of trust with your significant other, um obviously you're not going to be like, okay, need to see where he's at, like want to make sure he's actually at work or whatever. Like I don't have a significant other, like man or woman. So I don't obviously I don't worry about that, but I wouldn't really worry about that myself. Um and it's more of like, I'm a very protective person, especially with my friends, right? I'll be like, hey, like just want to make sure you were home, like you went home or whatever. um but I'm the type of person who is like very protective. I want to make sure you guys are okay. Like I check in on like everybody as much as I can. um it's just very scary out there, dude. That this road we live in is just like, you'll think of it as like, oh, like it's like a good place to be at, like, whatever. But when you actually are living through something like that, you're just like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
You're wondering how people's minds can be so twisted. Like I
Exactly.
don't understand. Like you know how like you hear these stories about men preying on such little girls. They're like itty bitty girls, like itty bitty
They're
like toddlers.
children.
And I have
Yeah.
a niece, and she's like 3, and I look at her, and every time I look at her, I just think, how could somebody think like that? Like I'm looking at my niece, and she's the most adorable little girl, and I want to make sure she's okay. I want to make sure
Yeah.
she's safe. I want to make sure she's growing well. I want to make sure she's like pristine, like all right.
Yeah.
But I don't understand how
somebody
people
couldn't think
does
that
that.
way.
Yeah.
It's just it's sickening. It really
It's
is.
disgusting. Absolutely.
Disgusting.
Very.
Yeah.
But let's try and get off this topic, please.
Yeah,
It's very
dark
depressing.
topic.
A little
No,
depressed.
but yeah, it like I said, it's very scary, especially for a woman as well.
And
Because
too, sometimes
like I
some
said,
men do get preyed on. I'm
yeah.
not
Yeah.
gonna leave that out.
Oh yeah, for sure. They're obviously, I'm not gonna take that into like what's the word I'm looking here? I'm not trying to like push the guys aside and be like, this would never happen to a guy, because it would, but
Yeah.
guys don't really speak out about it.
Yeah, they
But
don't.
there are some that have, which proud of you for speaking out about whatever you've gone through.
Absolutely.
You are one example, or you're one of the first people to be like, hey, this happened to me, this needs to be acknowledged, and then you're setting that example to others and be like, you don't have to be afraid to speak out about this,
Yeah.
like
It needs
abuse
to be an
or trauma or
issue
anything.
that it's an issue that needs to be taken seriously.
Oh yeah, for sure.
For sure. For sure.
There are definitely guys out there that go through abuse.
Yeah, there are too many men that have been completely wronged that are keeping it, quiet because they don't think
Silent.
people will take them seriously, or they don't think that like it'll, anything will happen because of it, and that
Mhm.
definitely needs to be something that is fixed because it's not okay.
Yeah.
Like even though women are more likely to come out about things, like there's still the whole shame thing about it, and it's like, how can you shame somebody for something that wasn't their fault? Regardless.
Yeah.
Like just the whole point of like, because I'm not going to say names, but there are these 2 creators that are going through something right now. One of them spoke out because the other one did something to them, and people were in the guy's comments basically telling him to shut up and that it wasn't real and it wasn't true and he's ruining her life and this, that, and the third. And I'm like, how dare you? Like he's
Yeah.
finally speaking out about something. Like he finally feels brave enough, courageous enough to say his story and call this person out, and you're telling him not to and telling him that he's lying, and it's just like, how could you do that?
Mm-hmm.
It's like just disgusting behavior. People who shame victims just
Yeah, no,
they can catch these hands because oh my
Ooh.
god.
Who's
They can
ready to
catch-
fight? I am.
Definitely me.
Yeah, no, it's definitely something that needs to be addressed more often. Like,
For sure.
it's again, here we go with the depressing stuff. But anyways,
I mean, sometimes it's stuff that needs to be talked about.
yeah,
though.
it's definitely stuff that needs to be talked about. It's definitely stuff that
depressing,
needs to be
yes,
brought
but-
up a lot more.
Absolutely.
And for either men or women, just don't feel afraid to speak out about things, because
Yeah.
it's something, if you speak out about it, not only will you feel better, but you will also get help from like millions of people to tell you, hey, have you tried doing this, have you tried doing that? Like they'll give you like, it definitely helps you both physically and mentally, in my opinion.
Yeah,
And it's
definitely.
it's definitely a good thing to speak out about it. It may not always go how you planned, but in the end, you're like, I spoke out about it, I feel good about it now.
Yeah. And you can help many people who are in the same scenario and like, don't know if they can talk about it, don't know if people, have gone through the same thing, don't know if people, would take them seriously. And it's like you're helping them realize that, like, yeah, there's going to be the assholes out there that are going to troll and say horrible things and make you feel bad about yourself, but it's like there's going to be even more people that are going to be on your side and supporting you and telling you that it's okay and that you're so brave and that you're so strong.
You're the
And
bigger
that's the
person
part that's
here.
true.
Yes.
That's the part that's true. That you are extremely brave, that you are extremely strong, and you are helping everybody else who is like you, who thought that maybe they couldn't come out about it.
Exactly.
So it's definitely something it's hard to talk about for sure. And never ever push yourself unless you're ready, because that's more traumatic than not talking about it. But if you think you're ready, definitely talk about it, because you can be helping yourself and others. But
For
obviously,
sure.
like, don't talk about it if it's gonna traumatize you more to talk about it, because that's, you know,
Rush yourself and don't push
What?
yourself too far.
Exactly.
yeah,
But
definitely.
if you're ready, go for it. But if
Yeah.
you're not, don't hurt yourself.
Yeah, if you need that little mental nudge, then like give yourself the pep talk and go for it. But if you're not there yet, if it's more than a mental nudge, then just give yourself time until it is a mental nudge.
Mm-hmm.
And even if you never come out about it, that's okay too. Like if you don't come out about it, I guess I should say, like, to more than, just your close people, like, that is also okay. Like, you don't need to tell the whole world that you went through this thing. You don't need to tell, I mean, you're not obligated to tell anybody what you went through if you don't want to. But if you want to and you feel comfortable enough doing it and you're in a safe enough place where you can do it and it won't hurt you, then I say go for it, because there will be so many people that will support you in what you do.
Exactly.
Me being one of those people.
All three of us.
Absolutely.
All three of us. We, like, whatever you're going through, if you, like, if you happen to go through with speaking out about it, we're supporting you 100%, 120%,
Absolutely.
200,000%. It's just like, we're gonna have your back for sure.
Literally. I will never, ever, ever not support somebody who comes out about something like that, because that takes so much strength.
Oh yeah.
To do.
Oh my god, it takes so much. You are a powerful person if you can do that.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Either way, even if you don't, like, you're still a powerful person in your own, like, strength. Like, you yourself are still here, you're still pushing it, and you're still helping yourself, you're recovering, like, you're still a powerful person nonetheless.
Yeah.
You're not any less than the person who did speak out.
If you are healing out loud or in silent, you are just as strong. And like either way, you are very, very strong.
Yep.
So,
well, I'm pretty sure we all have more stories to talk about.
Of
like
course.
work stories and whatnot.
Yeah, I have the whole other job I didn't talk about.
Oh yeah. Woohoo! Do we got some stories? At least I know I got some stories I still wanted to talk about too. But
I mean, I have more from the job I talked.
Oh yeah. I got more, trust me. A lot of shit went down. But
that was just the stuff that's up.
We are coming towards a pretty good ending point here.
Yes.
We are. It is about time. We
can pick it up on Monday for sure though, if we
absolutely.
If we want
to talk about more of this or something else or both. But yeah. It's getting a little bit to the extended end.
Yeah, we're gonna have to end this episode here. So thank you for allowing us to be part of your day, and we'll catch you on the next one.
Powerpuffs out.